In case you didn't know, if you're listening to the show unaware, Louisville goes on the road Friday night, pulls off one of the biggest wins in the history of the program. We're not sure where it ranks. We don't care. All we care about is the fact that it's on the list. Cards take down the Canes 24-21, arguably the most impressive win that any team in college football has notched so far this season. I don't know if it's the biggest. I don't know if it's the biggest upset. What I can tell you is it's without question one of the most impactful victories in the history of U of L football, at least as it pertains to the current season. I mean, just a complete, we talked about this all last week, the extreme variances in how the fan base was going to react, whether it was a win or a loss. If it's a loss, a lot of folks out there saying, well, it's basketball season. Cards versus Kansas on Friday night. Thank God, couldn't come sooner. I don't care if they go 10-2. They can't make the playoff. They can't make the ACC title game. Things are going wrong. It's a disappointing year 3. You win, well, we're here, and we're about to experience it. It's all there for the taking now for this team. 6 games that all appear winnable. Nothing should be taken for granted, but that's for, tomorrow's show. It's not for today's show. Playoff, back in the picture. ACC title, back in the picture. Louisville, not back in the rankings, but in the rankings for the first time this season. Number 19 in the AP poll. One of the talks of the college football world, certainly were the talk going into Saturday morning. Oh my God, does it feel good to be here. We're going to hear from you on the Game Day Men's Health text line. I haven't even logged into Text Groove yet. I can only imagine what's happening. 502-414-1450 is the number there. Before we do any of that, we got to say to my guy, Roman Kelly, producing the hell out of the show per usual. You heard him there on Running with Roman. You hear him every day on the Ticket Punchers. You'll hear him later today on Mondays with Dalton Pence. Roman, how we feeling, bud?
Feeling great, Mike. Feeling very, very good. What a game. What a performance. All-around performance from this Louisville football team. Shout out Ron English. Shout out Jeff Brom. Shout out Chris Bell. And shout out that dark cloud that did its thing, Mike.
I was going to say. First of all, I was surprised that you picked Miami on Friday. Just because you'd been like, I'm a 7.4 confidence level, I'm 7.8, which says if you're above 50%, you think that Louisville's going to win. So I was disappointed there. You could have called your shot on that one. What you did do, though, was completely call the Carson Beck 4 INTs. You said the Thang alert level was off the charts. You said he's got a dark cloud hanging over him. You called your shot all week with that, and my goodness, did we cash in. 4 picks, Roman.
4 picks, Mike. Felt really, really good. Shout out to TJ Capers on that last one, Mike. Just what a play there. I just can't stop thinking about how this offense and this defense was able to look like the better team the entire night for the most part. And it feels really, really good. I can't wait to get into it.
Producer Matt Childress also in the house today. Matt, how are we feeling?
I don't remember the last time I felt like this. It was the closest was definitely probably Notre Dame at home, but that was also a home game. Implications were a lot different. When I woke up Saturday, I didn't feel real. I felt like I was in Inception. I was in my third dream state and somebody had kicked me out yet. I was just waiting to basically arise from my bed in a cold sweat. We were down 35-15 and Carson Beck was kneeling the ball down in our own territory and it just never came. It just never came. I'm still riding it today. Man, the where we could possibly go in this season now has got me more and more excited. I was already excited originally, but we're back.
We're back.
We're fully back in.
Could not be more back.
Basketball season's going to take a seat. It's not ready yet. We're not done. Football's here.
My God. First of all, apologies to TJ Walker and Caroline Levitt and Donald Trump, which is always on when I come in here. I had to turn that off, and I turned on a replay of the game. We just faked a field goal, guys. Miami's celebrating. I don't know why. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they think just happened. This was kind of a DL moment where I was like, we may have this. Not because we successfully faked the field goal, but I was like, these guys don't know the difference between 4th and 2 and 4th and goal when you're on the 5-yard line. Their fans are celebrating. Their moronic players are celebrating. The announcers don't know what to do. They're like, I think Miami thinks he fumbled the ball. I'm like, no, they just don't know math because they have a coach that can't count to 10. That's what happened there.
This confused the hell out of me when I first watched it because obviously he makes the tackle and he goes in the end zone and starts slapping his helmet, celebrating. I was like, is there something that I'm missing in this play? I know the angle was really low. It was like, did his knee get down really early or something? I was like, oh, no, he's just embarrassing himself.
He just doesn't know the rules of football despite playing for the number 2 team in the country. One of the weirdest things I've ever seen. And it was great to know that, like, our guys did know the rules. We had a reason to celebrate. The Miami sideline had no reason to celebrate. That was when I was kind of like, all right, these guys might just not be smart enough to play with us, which I felt good about. I don't even know where to start here, aside from we talked on Friday, and I was bringing up, nobody felt overly confident. If you did, props to you, because you were correct. But the majority of the fan base was fueled by hope, not necessarily reason. There weren't a lot of people out there saying, I think we can win because of A, B, and C. It was basically like, I think we've got a coach that wins in these situations. They have a coach that has a history of spitting the bit in these types of situations. Maybe that'll be enough. But we talked on Friday about the lack of history that we have as a football program relative to programs like Miami. And I did trivia time with Roman. How many times have we ever beaten a top 25 team on the road? Forget about top 10 team. Top 25 team on the road. 5 times in the history of the program going into Friday night. We had never beaten a top 10 team away from home. We had once in our history beaten a top 2 team in any place. Those types of nights, and I think we got excited as the game got here because we recognized that it was at least a possibility, however faint, that we could have one of those sports nights that you remember for the rest of your life as a sports fan. And to actually have it happen is one of those, like you said, kind of out-of-body experiences where it doesn't set in. Like, you're on cloud 9, and then maybe a couple of hours later, you're like, holy bleep, like, that actually happened. We get to enjoy this now for the remainder of the weekend. You don't get those types of nights all that often. You just don't. And I'm not just talking about, like, as a Louisville fan. I'm talking about however many teams you root for. There is rarely that, oh, my God, we have a chance to do something that we have never done as a program, and it's going to shake up the landscape of our respective sport, and then you go out there and you actually do it. So I know it's been 3 days now. I hope that everybody is still soaking this up. I know it's Monday, and I know that Jeff Brom and the players are doing we're turning the page, we're on to Boston College. We don't have to be on to Boston College just yet. We're not playing on Saturday. We get a chance to soak this up for a little bit longer. We'll talk about, now they can't have the Brom clunker. What's the best path to win? We'll talk about that for the rest of the week. For today, and for what I hope you've done the past 48 hours, this is about celebrating. This is about making sure that you're living in the moment, and the moment right now is awfully good for U of L football after a week and a half where we were acting like we were 0-5. We were acting like this is the all is lost moment. I don't know if we hired the right guy. Even if we win 10 games this season, it could wind up being disappointing. How frustrating is the can we compete moving forward? All of that goes out the window. Maybe not for good. You never know what's going to happen. But for right now, everything is back to being there for the taking, and boy, does that beat the alternative. I mean, I just said I'm not going to look ahead, but I'm going to look ahead for a split second. We're a 23-point favorite as of right now against Boston College on Saturday. Homecoming, under the lights, 7:30. The ACC Network crew is in town, all that good stuff. It was going to be awfully hard for anybody, and I put myself in this category, to get worked up about that game if we were 4-2 coming off of a handily lopsided loss to Miami. You weren't going to feel like you had much to play for. All of a sudden, every week now feels kind of like a playoff elimination game. You sort of feel like you're in the playoffs at this point where if we go 11-1, I guess there are no guarantees, but I would say it's more likely than not that we get in the playoff or we get in the ACC title game and have a chance to earn our way into the playoff. If you lose at any point, that's out the window. So Boston College, even though they're coming off of a loss to UConn, they haven't played good football all season long. This is a game that we can get up for now because it has actual top-tier ramifications. And that's only possible because this group went down to Coral Gables on Friday, or Miami Gardens, wherever the hell Hard Rock Stadium is now, and absolutely kicked the tails of the team that was being widely talked about as the best team in college football before Friday night. That was the narrative. That was the big talk in college football was, I don't know if anybody can play with Miami right now. These guys look like they're on a different level. Even during the game, the announcers were like, yeah, this is where you just, this is a different breed, that offensive line, that defensive line. And yeah, are they better at us than better than us at most positions? Sure. Was that gap so wide that it didn't matter what the coaching staff did or didn't matter what the game plan? No. And Jeff Brom has proved this time and time again. You don't have to be stacked at every position. If you have a team that believes in what you're willing to tell them, makes up for a lot of deficiencies. I usually think that the whole like A out-coached B or B took A to town as a coach is a little bit overblown. Jeff Brom and this staff dog-walked Mario Cristobal and his staff for the entirety of Friday night's game. Everything that we talked about on Friday's show or Thursday's show about needing to happen, it all happened. Miller Moss getting the ball out of his hands quickly, using the short passing game to successfully negate Miami's vaunted pass rush, happened the entire game. And Miami never adjusted to it. There was never any, hey, they're going snap, throw, snap, throw, snap, throw, snap, throw. Maybe we should press up on Chris Bell. Nah, never entered the minds. Hey, they're going snap, throw. You're not going to be able to get back to the quarterback, Ruben Bain. Maybe hang back and get your hands up and try to deflect some passes. No adjustments whatsoever from Miami staff. Offensively, we saw some stuff. We found a way to run the ball. Isaac Brown, good to see you again. Welcome back, at least until the end, which we'll get to. Kept them honest because we had a electric running back that has the potential to turn any carry into an 80-yard touchdown. That happened. When we got the opportunities to make plays defensively and turn the tide of the game, didn't drop interceptions. In fact, we made 3 of the best interception catches you're ever going to see. We, contrary to that, when Miami realized that they had to go more short passing game because Carson Beck just didn't have it and our secondary was playing phenomenally, our defensive line did what theirs was unwilling to do. Hung back, batted some passes down. Let Cleve Lubin get to the quarterback. If I don't get the initial rush, don't get the initial push, I'm hanging back, I'm going to deflect some passes. Got in Carson Beck's head that way as well. Also kept Malachi Toney from having a bunch more touches because that guy is outrageously good. Everything we needed to do, we did. We made the fewer silly mistakes. We were the less penalized team. Should have been even less penalized than we were, but that's a different story. Special teams, we were better. Across the board, a clinic against what is still, I think, arguably the most talented team in college football. Their payroll suggests that much. I mean, I can't give enough credit to this coaching staff and the players. And I'll start with this. I'm starting with this as far as just like who deserves the most credit here. We talked a lot this summer about the narrative that Ron English was kind of getting out there when he was asked questions about why last year's defense went so haywire. And he didn't come out right and say it, but he implied. And Jeff Brom did the same thing. It wasn't just Ron English out there making excuses for himself. But the implication throughout last season and the offseason was that they had a group of players defensively that just couldn't quite get what the staff was asking them to do. And beyond that, they weren't great communicators, and maybe there was some selfishness by some of the players on that side of the ball. And all of it led to this effect where the defense was not performing nearly the way that it was supposed to. And about this point last year, they were like, all right, well, we just have to simplify things. We can't do anything that we want to do defensively because these guys just don't get it. And I think all of us, and again, I'll include myself in this, we're like, all right, whatever. Seems like a convenient excuse for you. Go out there and prove it or you're going to get fired. And look, hand up. We said on this show, I said on this show, if I were Jeff Brom, I wouldn't have retained Ron English. Could not have been more wrong. 100% wrong. Ron English's excuse, and I'm using the air quotes if you're not watching on YouTube or TV, Ron English's excuse for last season sure as hell looks like a valid explanation now, more so than an excuse. Because guess what? Our players were communicated a game plan. They absorbed it. They digested it. They looked like they knew what Miami was going to do every time they came out in a base formation. And if there's one knock on Shannon Dawson as Miami's offensive coordinator, it's that he's repetitive. He gets comfortable in doing one thing, and just relies on his talent and doesn't change up formations, doesn't go to any sort of exotic formations, doesn't like running outside the tackles. We knew that they were going to run between the tackles. We pinched the A-gap all night and dared them to do something different, and they would not do it.
Mark Fletcher, 18 yards.
Nothing. And they averaged 2.6 yards per carry. We shut down the running game. We put it all on Carson Beck, and guess who couldn't handle that weight? Carson Beck. They had one great drive against us where they beat us for a couple of deep plays. They pulled TJ Quinn in on a tight end going up the running is just straight route. They beat was it Mac? It wasn't Mac. It was I think Tayon Holloway one-on-one with Malachi Toney, and that's just one of the best receivers in college football making a big-time play. And outside of that, they got nothing. We gifted them a touchdown late because of the Isaac Brown fumble. Our defense dominated this football game. And I wrote about this today. My favorite play of the entire game is, they were running. It was a very obvious set where they stacked 3 wide receivers to the right side, and we're going to run the quick throw to the outside, one of those extension of the running game type plays when you can't get anything going with the running game. And we had 2 defensive backs out there, and you're watching and you're like, they've got numbers on the outside. Do we realize this? We wait until right before they're going to snap the ball because we don't want Carson Beck to check out of the play that we know is coming. And right before he snaps, Antonio Watts, TJ Quinn sprint to the boundary to make sure that they're out there. It doesn't really matter because Jabari Mack blows up his dude and stuffs the play. But we knew what they were going to do every time they had the ball, and we baited them into doing the wrong thing. And their coaches had no idea. I mean, you heard the sideline report when it gets to 14-0, and she's like, kind of panic down here on the Miami side. And when they said that, I was like, panic? They're the number 2 team in the country. It's the first quarter. Why are you panicking? They were panicking the whole night. They've got dudes everywhere that are going to play on Sunday. We out-schemed them. We out-executed them. We did all the little things that we needed to do to win the game. Could not have been more proud of everybody associated with Louisville football on Saturday. I know I'm being very, very long-winded. Producer Matt, your primary takeaway. What do you focus on first when you think about Saturday's victory?
The first thing I think of is Jeff Brom said it after the game was over, in that he wanted to make them play from behind. They hadn't had to play from behind basically all season. They've always been in control. Like you said, they were deemed as 1A, 1B with, Ohio State. They're a team that hadn't seen a lot of pressure.
They had trailed for 9 minutes and 12 seconds going into Friday night's game.
Well, they trailed 100% of this football game, Mike. They did not lead, tie. There was nothing in this game. And I feel like they put the pressure on them immediately. Like you said, after that fake field goal, you kind of felt like in your heart a little bit, hey, we're kind of pulling out some stops. That kind of puts them in a tough situation. And then you get them in a 3-and-out, and then you put 7 more points on the board. It seemed like taking away the run game, getting them from behind early, just put Carson Beck in his worst position he's been in college football so far.
I was thinking about, I had a friend who coached still does coach high school football. And he was talking about when you get to the midpoint of the season. So for high school, I think it's like they play 10 games usually. He's like, when we get to the past 5 game, you have to reinvent yourself a little bit because the film gets out there. Everybody kind of knows what you do well and what you don't do well. And he said you almost have to just forget all the things that you learn. Obviously, you retain some of your base install from the summer, but you have to change everything up. And we seem to understand that. On Friday night, we come out and multiple Miami defensive players after the game said, well, they threw things out there that we just hadn't seen before. Miami threw nothing out there that we hadn't seen before. We were ready for this. We took this seriously. We recognized that we couldn't beat them doing the same old thing. Miami's fatal flaw was that they banked on their base, their physicality, their just inherent natural ability being enough alone to beat us. And when it didn't, they had no pivot. If Isaac Brown doesn't fumble that ball, that's a double-digit win where, like you said, we trail for 0 seconds. We're in control the entire time. And they just thought they could out-physical us at every position, and they couldn't do it. And we're talking about them being more naturally gifted than us. I think by and large they are. Our defensive line, though, I mean, there's no push from that Miami offensive line against our guys. Renee Conga is a beast. Cleve Lubin is a beast. Jordan Gerard is a beast. Like, they're as good as anybody in the country. I feel confident in saying that now after watching what they did against the Miami offensive line. When Miami just needed a yard here or there. I mean, every now and then they got it, but it was never easy. It was never like they've moved the pile 4 yards forward. It was we were still hitting them at the point of attack. They've just got super physical 230-pound running backs that can pick up a yard when they need to get a yard. But we stuffed the running game. And our secondary, you want to talk about stepping up. I think we knew what we had with the linebackers and the defensive line. The secondary was still a little bit of a question mark, and it wasn't just the interceptions. It was every time Miami ran a pass play that was very clearly designed to go deep. And Carson Beck had time to sit back, let the routes develop, take a look downfield, and pick a shot. He either threw it into
quadruple coverage,
or he had to tuck and run. Like, he never had a guy running free. He's not that fast. He's not that fast. Roman, I asked the question to Matt. Your primary takeaway outside of just holy bleep, we went on the road and we beat the number 2 team in the country.
This offensive line looked like not just a good offensive line, like an elite offensive line. After one that had looked like maybe it didn't belong at this level for certain moments of this season. It was crazy to see the cohesiveness and what looked like a lot of new stuff we hadn't seen all season, like guys coming from other ends, getting different pushes and just scheming their offensive line to get a gap and open up lanes for Isaac Brown that we haven't seen all season long. And they said Isaac Brown was healthy. I went and got into this in the run with Roman. He didn't really look 100%, but they opened up gaps enough for him to go up there and make that first man miss and make that second guy, try to make that second guy miss. And it was really, really, really nice to see that. I felt like we got pretty good protection. Not pretty good. We got great protection in the pass game as well. There's an understanding that you're playing fast, it's a little bit easier as well. But
sure,
the offensive line looked 8 out of 10 plus, really good for the entirety of the game, which we hadn't seen all season long.
I mean, we schemed it to a point where we weren't going to let Miller Moss get sacked a bunch.
Yeah.
I think I saw, because I agree the offensive line was terrific. But I did see Pro Football Focus graded them on pass blocking at just a 38%, which isn't very good. But it didn't matter because you don't have to block Ruben Bain for 5 seconds when the route is, hey, Chris Bell, drag route across the middle, snap, toss it to him, snap, toss it to him. Like, that's all we had to do. And then in the run game, yeah, like they were opening up holes that we didn't see against James Madison, let alone this team that's being talked about like they're the 85 Bears. It feels like, and we have kind of hoped for this through the first month and a half of the season. A year ago, there was a lot of mixing and matching on the offensive line, and it took about till the midway point to find the right group of 5 guys. And I'm not just saying mixing and matching with like bodies. I'm saying tackles playing guards moving back to tackles. We've now, Trevontae Sylvester is healthy. We'd love to have him a little bit bigger, but he's phenomenal right now at left tackle. Just won ACC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Lance Robinson at left guard. Pete Niger's been the only mainstay at center. We know how good he is. Mame Musa at right guard, and then Rasheed Miller at right tackle. Like, that's our group. We found the combination that works up front, and now hopefully in the second half of the season, when you're playing a decent amount of defenses that aren't all that good, we'll have an offensive line that's able to assert our will, get this running game back on track, and then also get Miller Moss a little bit of time to take some deep shots. I mean, he hasn't thrown a deep ball, it feels like, in 4 weeks. I don't think he threw a ball more than 30 yards in the air one time in this game, and he threw 37 passes. And that's the game plan. Like, he wasn't supposed to. The only time he came close, we almost got picked off deep over the middle. It was just a masterful game plan, masterful execution. Cannot tip my hat more than I already have to everybody associated with Cardinal football, although we're going to try after the break. More thoughts on this after the break. Keep loading up the text line at 502-414-1450. It's a joyful Monday edition of the Rutherford Show. It's back after this on the Big X. And our guy, John Burke, your trusted partners for commercial and industrial HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and refrigeration services. Give them a call at 502-339-1133 or visit them online at UnitedMechanicalInc.com. Mike Rutherford along with Roman Kelly and producer Matt Childress here on a Monday edition of the show, continuing to celebrate Louisville's victory over Miami from Friday night. The Cards win as a 11.5-point underdog, the first road victory over a top 10 opponent in the history, 113-year history of Louisville football, a win that has the potential, I think, to change this entire season. And maybe we look back and say this was kind of the win that catapulted us to more success moving forward. Louisville, as mentioned earlier, now number 19 in the AP poll, which, I think we knew this win was going to vaunt us back into the CFP conversation. But you see that ranking and you see that that it's a team number next to it, and you're like, ooh, not that far away from 12. We can keep working our way up there. It's a nice little tangible thing that you can grab onto and say, wow, all right, we're right back in the mix here. Top 20 team now, getting ready for a couple of games that will probably be heavily favored in before a last 4 games that have a little bit more issues, but we don't need to talk about that today. Today, we're talking about Louisville going down, and I was going to say winning is a 2-touchdown underdog, but the line on Friday, it kept going down. Some places it was 10.5 at kickoff. I don't know if that was a little bit of a giveaway, but I saw some gambling people tweeting out that the Sharps were playing. There were a lot of money line bets on Louisville, which gave me a little bit of confidence, but still, it took until that first drive. When we came down there and scored in the first drive, and you could tell that this was going to be a big game Jeff Brom special, where he's throwing out stuff that the other team hasn't seen before, and we're pulling out all the stops. That's when I was like, all right, we got a shot. I'm not feeling like we're going to win, but I was like, we've got a shot. And then when we responded in the second half after a little bit of adversity, I felt good. I'll ask you guys, though. When the fumble happens, Miami scores on its first play. They score on a trick play for a 2-point conversion. Our drive stalls. They get the ball back. They convert on the 3rd and 13. At that point in time, my confidence level was negative 1.5 billion. Were you guys calmer than I was? Matt, you go first.
No, not at all.
I thought it was over.
Me, Roman, and Will were all talking in a group chat. As soon as the fumble happened, I'm pretty sure I texted "Oh no, it's over."
Yeah,
they're gonna ride that momentum all the way into the end, and then we give them the ball back, we stall out. I was like, okay, if our defense has stepped up, if we can just hold on to this for a little bit, they're gonna go for the win. They're not gonna try and push us to overtime. They're gonna go for the win.
They did not.
They did not.
I really don't think he knows how to count. I swear to God.
I don't. It makes no sense. I was sitting here the whole time. I couldn't even describe the feeling of euphoria that I was feeling, and then seeing Isaac Brown fumble and being like, life is pain.
Oh,
life is emptiness.
The game, we all are, we're not saying it out loud at that point. If we're all being honest, though, it's 24-13. There's 5 minutes left to go in the game. We've got the ball. It's our first play. We're like, all right, this is over. Unless something insane happens.
If you get 2 first downs,
it's done.
It's over.
You can run the clock out. And at that point, our offense had been, we had a couple drives that stalled, but we still, we weren't going 3 and out on any drives. We were picking up a couple of first downs every time, even when we did have to punt. And then and plus, Hard Rock is dead. There's no noise whatsoever. The fumble happens. And when we haven't been in this position all that often, in football at least, but when you're a great team, and Miami's, I feel like I've seen this game from Miami 5 or 6 times over my life with the great U teams from back in the day. Sometimes you just find a way. It just, stuff happens, especially when you're at home. And you could tell, all these Miami fans, this is like the Boston College game back in 2004, or the West Virginia game back in 03. Now, we got that one break that we needed. We got that one thing that happened that just set the place on fire. And then for them to score immediately and have us kind of be on our heels, you were like, this is, I think we all were like, this is going to hurt. It's worse because we went from, all right, I got a little bit of belief, to, okay, I genuinely think we're going to win this game, to, I can see suicide in my future because this feels like it's going to be the most painful thing that I've ever experienced in sports. And we all went through that range of emotions, and thankfully it didn't happen.
Shouts out to Colin Lacey for making arguably the biggest tackle of his career off of that. Because, I was sitting here thinking about it after the game, being like, okay, they went and scored anyway, So like it would. But the thing is, I'm thinking of if they recover that fumble and run it back for a touchdown, we immediately have to get our offense back out there, right back. And then when there's more time on the clock, they don't have to use any. But those few plays they had to run and score a touchdown, kick a field goal, gives Jeff Brom and the offense time to kind of regather themselves, think about the next plan, gives Ron English some extra time to like, okay, when we go back out there at some point, we're going to, like, the tackle itself, if you have to throw Miller Moss or Isaac Brown right back out there, I mean, who knows what could happen.
And Miller did seem, even before the fumble, he'd been a little bit rattled down the stretch, didn't have his fastball that much anymore. I will say, even though the drive stalled when we got the ball back to Miami, he made a couple of really good throws to kind of help at least calm everybody down and pick up a couple of first downs and reset things. Roman, as Miami's driving down 3 and seeming to pick up easy first down after easy first down, where are you? Are you as pessimistic as Matt and I?
Not at all, Mike.
You were feeling good.
Unrealistically feeling good. I said it in the group chat, like Matt said.
He did. I will give it to him. He did say
I said he's due for another one. I called the next one.
It felt like he was either due for another one or we were going to lose. Like, it was before they crossed midfield. I'm like, we got to win it here because we're not going to win in regulation, and I don't think that we're going to be able to drive down the field and respond with a touchdown in a minute. It just doesn't seem like it has it in us. And then when they got across midfield, I was like, he's either throwing another pick or we're losing the game.
And I said the same thing. I said, we need to stop right here, right now. Will and Matt immediately said, yeah, if we go to OT, we lose, kind of agreeing on that. I didn't necessarily feel that way, but it was at that point with the momentum, you don't want to go to OT right there. And I just knew that he has to win it here. He has to throw it. And that's just too much pressure for him, Mike. It's too much for him.
TJ Capers, who had been, much talked about the last 3 years for being one of the biggest defensive recruits in the history of the program. He's a Florida kid. A lot of people thought he would go to Miami coming out of high school. And, only is on the field on a consistent basis because of the injury to Stanquan Clark. Still kind of, I thought this wasn't the only play that he made in the game. He had a couple of nice pass rushes, made a couple of nice tackles. But this is, even if he doesn't do anything the rest of his career, this is his moment. That is as good of an interception as you're going to see from just about anybody, let alone a linebacker. I don't know if you guys were like me, because I've seen a lot of celebration videos where people are just going nuts and everyone's hugging, and they're so awesome. I was terrified to celebrate because I wasn't 100% sure if he caught it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I jump up from my seat, and my dad and my mom is down watching at this point, and we're both like, ah! And then, I'm like, hold on, did he catch it? Did he catch it? And then they show the replay, and then that's when I lose my mind and I think wake up half the neighborhood. Were you guys celebrating immediately, or were you kind of waiting a little bit to make sure?
Immediately. Immediately.
I figured Roman was.
I was the other way around.
No way!
I'm being serious.
No way!
All I could think of, as soon as he caught it, right? As soon as he intercepted the ball, I kept thinking of the Miami fumble from last year that got called back.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I have it in my heart to feel that again.
That's where I was. I was like, I'm not going to until I know beyond the shadow of a doubt. And then they show the replay. I'm like, he got it. I'm like, it's over. It's over.
It's the most obvious interception of all time.
Yeah.
The ball never comes close touching the ground.
He gave them no reason, no excuse to go to Charlotte.
No, there was every time you see a big win or a big loss, you go to social media and you see all the people who are reacting to it, watching it live on stream or something like that, and every one of them was like a Miami fan who was watching it. It was like, that easily touched the ground. There's no way. And then they show the perfect camera angle where you could see under his body, and it's just the face of depression all over some people. It just was hysterical. I loved it.
So I listened to, yesterday when I was doing some stuff around the house, I fired up 3 of the post-game Miami podcasts. And 2 of them are very well reasoned. They're talking about saying a lot of the same stuff that we were about Jeff Brom kind of out game planning Mario Cristobal. And, it's so hard to go 12-0. Louisville's a really good team. They should have beaten Virginia by a couple of touchdowns. That should be an undefeated, all of that stuff. And then there's one where it's just like, I hate everything. I hate everybody. I wish I was dead, right? All this stuff. And they're kind of blaming the officials a little bit. They're going off on the fair catch call, which...
That was the Kane Chronicle.
I think that maybe whoever it was, I went back and checked today because I wanted to listen to something for the write-up. They had deleted the podcast that was out there. It's now all because I hit podcast and because I already had it up. It's like, do you want to continue listening? and it was like this no longer exists. And I went to the website, and they've deleted the whole page where it was on. So there were a lot of things being said that I assume people had problems with. I think Louisville fans were kind of split on this. I absolutely thought it was a attempt to, like, I don't think he was meaning to try to trick people, but he clearly thought about signaling the fair catch and then went. It was like a baseball swing where you're trying to check, but you went too far. Like, our guys very clearly stopped playing because they see him make the motion. Like, I thought it was a good call. If they don't make that call, I'm furious because our guys, like he only had a lane because our guys stopped playing. And even if you think that that was too marginal to call, we did not get a beneficial whistle in this game. We had the worst roughing the passer call you're ever going to see, and it negated an interception on a third and long, where it felt like that play single-handedly kept them alive. The Chris Bell unnecessary roughness block or block it, whatever it was complete BS.
Oh, the blindside block? Yeah.
And it stalled a drive out that looked like it was going to end in points when we really needed to get points. The non-pass interference call on Chris Bell where the dude's basically just like bear hugging him.
Terrible.
He can't cover him. Like, we did not – this was not a Miami fans can point and say –
about that one.
I mean, I was very upset at that point. It was late. I mean, and that's when we're trying to, like, get momentum back on our side at that point. It was a first down play. We got to get Miller Moss some confidence, and they just bear hug our guy, and nothing's called. So, like, Miami, if you want to try to go down that route, I don't think you can. You can only be mad at your own guys and maybe the lack of explosiveness on offense. Certainly Carson Beck kind of gives the game away with the 4 picks. But they made a good point, too, on some of these podcasts. We made 3 outrageous catches for 3 of those interceptions. They had a couple of plays where their defensive players got their hands on Miller Moss passes but couldn't reel them in. Like, that's how you win those types of games. That's like, you've got to take advantage of the moment. We did. They didn't. It's that simple, and that's why we're sitting here celebrating a victory on Monday, and they're talking about what should have been. I still think Miami's really good. I'll be surprised if they don't win double-digit games this season. But on this night, it wasn't a fluky deal. It wasn't just crazy gadget plays bailing us out and them looking like they didn't care about the game. We outplayed them start to finish. Outplayed them start to finish. That's as simple as it was.
Mike.
Absolutely outcoached them. No question about that.
The lack of in-game adjustments from that defense was astonishing.
The other thing that we have, we mentioned the fumble already, but we talked all Friday about how there's.
What's up with he fumbling against Miami twice? Sorry to interrupt.
He kind of cost us the game last year and looked like he may have done the same thing this year. But we talked all Friday about, it's playing clean football. It's winning the turnover battle. It's having more explosive plays. And for us, it's about we have to have a running game. There's no way we're going to be able to win this game if we're not able to effectively run the football. And Isaac Brown's out there. And for the first time this season, really since the EKU game where we only carried it 6 times, he looks at least mostly like his old self, which I feel weird saying since he's 19 years old or 20 years old and he's a true sophomore. But we had to have – I know the fumble almost gave the game away. I feel confident in saying we don't win that game if we don't have him playing the way that he was, because not only is he getting 7.5 yards every time he touches the ball, but having that Miami defense have to fear him, I think also allows Miller Moss to utilize the short passing game the way that he did. There were still some, like he's shying away from contact. He's going down when he's in the open field. He still looked a little bit different.
Looked like he didn't have that last tier of explosion to me.
I looked like he didn't want to have the last tier of explosiveness.
Because on the one, he was gone. He was gone. That Isaac Brown of last year was in the end zone, and he
just went down to the ground.
The guy who tackled him could have got him sooner. He just was trying to avoid the horse collar.
Yeah,
by all means. So he gave him an extra 5 yards even.
I mean, I don't say this lightly, and maybe it winds up looking silly in hindsight, but I absolutely believe it. From what I've seen through just the first, 15 games of his career, if we're talking about natural ability, Isaac Brown, I think, is the most naturally talented running back in the history of Louisville football. He's the best I've ever seen. He does things that no other player that I've watched at the running back position has been able to do. His vision, his ability to change directions without seeming to miss a step, it's as close to Lamar Jackson as anybody I've ever seen. The run that he had on the play that got negated by the Chris Bell penalty is, he shifts on a dime and is making these 5-star recruits that are being paid 7 figures in NIL look like they're JV players at Fairdale High School. He broke 16 tackles, according to Pro Football Focus this weekend, on 15 carries. The next running back on the list of most tackles broken this past weekend was 8. He has all the tools in the world. Now, if he's healthy and happy in the second half of the season, I think we're absolutely capable of running the table and going 11-1. If he's not, either one of those things or one of those things, I think we're going to struggle. But you saw the way the offense is supposed to work. It's supposed to be Miller Moss playing complementary football through the passing game. Isaac Brown being the backbone of this offense. And I think if he was fully healthy or fully whatever, we would have ridden. If this were last year, he would have gotten the ball 22, 25 times in this game. And he's outrageous. Like we've got to have him in some way, shape, or form if we're going to be a legit contender in the second half of the season. And if I'm him and I'm healthy and that's not an issue, then why not lock in right now? Like you've got a chance to help lead Louisville to the playoff, to help lead Louisville to winning a conference championship. If that doesn't get you going, why are you playing football? Like what are you really in it for? Let's go. It's time now. You got that first taste. You got some good contact. You're clearly still the man. Forget about the fumble. Let's go. Also, the announcers at the end of the game are like, I was talking about this with Matt before we came on. They're like, is Isaac Brown hurt? Like, why is he not out there? There's got to be something going on. Like, he just fumbled the ball. His head, he's like crying on the sidelines. Like, of course he's not in the game. What are you talking about?
Like he possibly lost the game off of one fumble, depending on what happens later on.
Yeah. They're showing him like head and hands on the sideline. They're like, is he hurt? Is he a little banged up? Like, no. He just almost cost us the game. Jeff's not going to throw him back out there at that point, nor should he have.
And I said during the break that forget the feeling of winning this game. Forget they're number 2 in the country. Thank God that we won this game for Isaac Brown, because if we lose this game, you can put there is blame for Virginia you can put on Isaac Brown. For if he holds on to that ball, they don't get a touchdown, maybe we kick a field goal, maybe you win that game. If you end up losing this game because of that, I mean, we probably never see the same Isaac Brown again.
No,
we probably never see him in a jersey again
against Miami in his hometown.
Like,
doing literally the one thing you cannot do in that situation. I don't care. You know, people are like, well, he wasn't running loose with the ball. The guy just put a hat on it. I'm like, he sees there are 3 guys. Like, just go down at that point. All you have to do is not fumble. A couple first downs would be great, but if we just don't fumble, we still have like a 95% chance to win this game.
If we would have kneeled 3 times and punted, then, it would have been.
You're still in good shape.
You're still in good shape. You're still up 2 scores.
Having said all that, his play helped us win this game without question. I love Kewan Brown. He's playing through injuries right now. He's sold out in pass pro several times. We had to have him in there to help us out. He can't run the ball against that type of defense. Isaac Brown can. And the offensive line did a great job. It's still Isaac Brown being electric at the point of attack and then being, I think, better than any running back in college football once you get to that second level. Nobody brings him down when it's one-on-one. Nobody. And he still has that burst, even if he's not playing at 100%. That's good enough to get into the secondary and outrun some dudes. He was phenomenal, and if we don't get that effort from him, we don't win the game. But the guy we've spent way too much time talking without bringing his name up. I mean, there's no longer any question about it. Chris Bell is, forget about solidifying himself as one of the best receivers in the country this season. He's now starting to solidify himself as one of the best receivers, I think, in recent Louisville history, or if you just want to say Louisville history, that's fine. The guy, we talked all offseason about, is he going to be Scott Long? Can he make that jump from great to elite? Can he make that jump from he's got all the skills to be a pro to he's without question a pro? He's made the jump. Nobody had a bigger night individually on Friday than Chris Bell, and I include Jeff Brom in that category. Chris Bell, everybody's talking about this man now. They're like, he moves like A.J. Brown. He runs a little bit like, who does he remind you of? And every NFL draft guru, whether they're legit gurus or just like they put guru in their Twitter bio, they're all like moving at that speed, at that size. Yeah, there's a spot for him. And it wasn't just the 2 touchdown plays. That guy, there were a couple times where Miller threw some hospital balls. He still is willing to go across the middle, take some licks, and pick up first downs for us. This was a Chris Bell clinic, Roman. That's our guy. We love him. And he showed out beyond anybody else on Friday night.
We got into this on the Running with Roman show, Matt and I, Mike. He's doing it all now. He actually is doing it all now at a consistent level. Every aspect of being a receiver. He has the route running now. His hands are consistent now. When the target is headed his way, you used to have that feeling, oh, this is headed to Chris Bell. What's about to happen? Are we going to get the Chris Bell that can make a man miss, spin move, and go for a touchdown? Or are we going to get the Chris Bell that gets tackled on the catch? Or maybe even drops the pass.
Drops the pass and then kicks somebody in the nuts right afterwards.
Right.
Gets 15 yards.
And then holding the next play. And that's been up until the start of this season, that Chris Bell it's a toss-up every single time. And now for 3 consecutive games, what really, in terms of his ability being on display he's doing it at every level on the field. He's doing it in the short passing game. He's doing it after the catch. He's doing it, our deep passing game is kind of more our intermediate passes are our deep passes in this kind of an offense, unfortunately. But because Jeff Brom has the plays to go and get these receivers open, just can the offensive line give Miller time? We understand that, but he has this speed, Mike, that's just unreal. I keep seeing the highlights from the first throw or from the second touchdown where he catches it on the left, makes the guy miss, and diagonal run up through the middle, and nobody can just get a hand on him. But the first one on a cross route where he's going east to west on his route and catches the ball, turns his body, and just no one can get a hand on him. He's got unreal speed. The hands have finally started to get to a point now where they're consistent. Every time he gets a target, he's typically coming down with it.
This is 3 straight games, Roman, now, where he's just been elite. 3 straight games now where I think he's proven it.
The throws, the catches in contact now, he didn't have those last year, Mike. Those were where we wanted Chris Bell to make an improvement. It's like, you can do all the basic stuff, the difficult stuff that you should be able to have an advantage with your body type and your kind of athleticism. He's now consistently doing all the right things and making all the right plays. And it feels really good to see someone like that have their full potential on display in this Jeff Brom offense.
I mean, we were talking about him taking the next step after the first 3 games of the season, which we didn't need him as much against EKU or Bowling Green, but still, 5 for 63, 4 for 83, 4 for 51. He's looking great. These last 3 games, and I know people know that it's good, but just reading it out loud I think is important. Last 3 games, 10 catches for 135 yards and a touchdown against Pitt. 12 catches for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns against Virginia. 9 catches and 136 yards and 2 touchdowns against Miami. I mean, this is as ridiculous of a heater as we've seen a Louisville wide receiver go on in I don't know how long. Now, Harry and Mario were putting up ridiculous numbers in 07 because we were losing games like 55-52, and we were throwing the ball 75 times because we had no other way to go. This has been a little bit different. This is Chris Bell just stepping up and saying, I'm always open. I'm always open. Throw me the football, and then watch me make some magic after I get the ball in my hands. He's the midseason MVP for this team. I know Cleve Lubin's been phenomenal. I know Colin Lacey's been great in the return department and great offensively. Say whoever else has been really good on this team. Chris Bell's the midseason MVP of this team. And I had a little bit of doubt when I was starting to see him, pop up at number 2 on some NFL draft big boards at the wide receiver position, or at number 4 on some big boards. He's proving me wrong. He looks every bit the part of a high-caliber NFL wide receiver right now. And he just, like I said, he's somehow always open. Like, that teams are game planning for him. You know that he's the biggest weapon on offense right now, and yet he continues to find him. If you'll find that little cushion, and Miller Moss, as he should be, is always looking his way. Speaking of Miller Moss, producer Matt, your thoughts on what we saw? I mean, not going out there and setting the world on fire, not making Tyler Shuck type throws, but this felt like a dramatic step forward in his evolution when it comes to being the quarterback that we need him to be for this specific team.
This is what we've said all year so far, and before the season, is that when the run game is working, you don't need Miller Moss to be Tyler Shuck out there. You don't. Right. You need him to get the ball in his hands, go through 1 or 2 progressions, check it down to somebody, move the chains, manage the game. And he managed the game as well as any quarterback in the country could have. He made a couple of rough throws here and there. You're going to in a high-pressure situation like that.
I'm so proud of him for taking the sack, though. He took you saw that free runner, and it's like one of their gigantically fast safeties. You know that there's no chance for him to do anything, and he goes down, and I was like, you know what? That's my guy right there. He's learning.
It was the first time I saw my quarterback in a situation like, oh, my God, scramble out and throw it away. I was like, and he went down. I was like, that is my boy right there.
My guy.
That's my son.
2nd and 15. Hell yeah. Let's go. And then he threw one away later. I'm like, look at this guy. I'm shedding a tear right now. you saw how much it meant to him too. I mean, he's sobbing after the game. We had the Jeff Brom revelation last Tuesday about how he and Miller kind of had to have a come to Jesus moment, and it was a emotional conversation with Miller. I mean, nobody's immune from the chatter. People can say they turn off their social media, whatever. He knows that things are being said about him. He's the quarterback at a power conference program that has made a couple of glaring errors, and it wasn't just locally. I mean, you had national people after that Virginia game saying this is like one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen. The highlight was everywhere. USC folks dancing on his grave, celebrating the fact that he's not there anymore. For him to go out there and quarterback this team to this win in this moment, you could see how much it meant to him. He goes in the crowd, he's hugging his mom, he's shedding some tears. I felt really good for him after that, and it was cool to see the coaching staff embrace him as well. This is a big moment for a lot of people. And, I mean, TJ Capers, we mentioned being from Miami, being from that area, making that type of play was just incredible to see. I know we don't have a whole lot of time here before we got to go to break.
Shout out Deuce Adams. You look good in that win, too, Mike.
I love Deuce.
I retract my statements. Looked like he was ready for the moment.
He was ready to go. Made a couple of really nice runs. Kept the defense off.
Somebody's listening to the show. Finally got the call and Lacey direct snap. Didn't do a whole lot with it. But
speaking of listening to the show, Miller Moss, multiple Rocky IV references after the game, including an Instagram post where he posted the Rocky IV. I was like, he enjoyed. If you're listening right now, Miller, you're welcome for the inspiration. Also, thank you. Don't thank us. We thank you. Let's take a break. When we come back, Game Day Men's Health text line time. 15 billion texts to read. Let's get to it. 502-414-1450, hour number 2 of the Rutherford Show. It's next here on the Big X. Hour number 2 of the Victory edition of the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450, 96.1, Big X Sports Radio. Got the game on here. Still surprised we didn't go for it on the fourth down at midfield. Feels like the better play right now, but in the moment, I was like, just run a play.
Let Keller kick it.
If you run a play, you get 5-6 yards, then nick the kick, come out there and boot a field goal. We need those points, and all Miami can do is maybe run one play before they have a chance to kick it. Like, we're good. We didn't do it. Ended up being, maybe. I mean, we're talking about Miller Moss before the break there, and the decisions to eat the ball on a sack that he needed to take and throw it away a couple of times. The other thing that I thought he did really well, and it feels silly, but I think not so silly if you've watched the first 5 games of the season, he didn't make the big mistake. We all were kind of waiting for just like when's the pick six. When it was 14-10 at the start of the third quarter, I was like, the pick six is going to happen. That's how Miami takes the lead and seizes all momentum. That big moment never came. The negative plays and killer turnovers have crushed this team when they've been at their worst so far this season, and we didn't have a bunch of either. We had the one turnover, which was almost a killer, but if you have that Isaac Brown fumble on top of a Miller Moss pick six at some point in the game, it's an unbeatable combination to get over. Didn't happen. Props to Miller Moss.
He had the one time he got sacked where it looked like he was ready to let it fly.
Look, I mean, he was on the verge. He wanted to do things. He wanted to be his old self. Very much the Happy Gilmore, here comes the putter throw type moment. And then you're like, wait, maybe this is a new Miller Moss.
I generally think that he was about to roll out, like Roman was saying, and he as he's turning his eyes, he got a glimpse of just Jeff Brom just like staring at him.
He saw it in his head.
Clipboard in hand, like clenching his fist, and he's just like, I'll just go down.
I mean, Jeff this year, it's been weird seeing him after big mistakes by Miller Moss, kind of talking to him like a normal human being as opposed to what we've seen from Jeff with the other 2 quarterbacks we had. This wasn't the case on Friday. I think he got to a moment where he's like, all right, treating you with kid gloves has not worked. I thought this was the right way to coach you. You're still making the mistakes that we're telling you can't make.
But what the bleeps are you doing came back out.
I mean, you saw he was like, step where, I think if you read his lips, because he threw one off his back foot that he didn't need to on a short pass and missed Kariski by like 5 feet. And you could see that he goes, step where you're bleeping, throwing the bleeping ball. What the bleep are you doing? Right in his face. And I was like, all right, nice Jeff is gone now. He's realized that if the nice dad, the good cop isn't going to work, I'm going right back to bleep you, dad. Like that's where I am. And look, seemed like it was pretty effective on Friday night. Hopefully, though, Miller Moss can build on this. I mean, if we've got a effective running game coming, this game against BC, we're not going ahead just yet. But this game against BC, I would like to see him make some throws down the field. Because we didn't ask him to do it on Friday. Didn't need him to do it on Friday. We will need him to do it at some point down the line. And this would be a nice opportunity for him to hopefully get some time and take some shots downfield and make some solid throws.
There's going to be some people in this game, too. I've already got plenty of friends and family saying that, like,
homecoming, baby.
Right after, the Friday game, they're like, they bought tickets already. They're like, hey, we're bought back in. This is a night game. It's going to be a game we're heavily favored in. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. The amount of videos that I got from like friends and people I haven't talked to in a while sending me videos of like them celebrating at their house or their friends over celebrating at the house. It reminded me of like the Stanford basketball game with the game winner, but like at a different level where this is just unbridled. Oh my God, we just beat the number 2 team in the country type enthusiasm. It's just one of those nights, man. I slept maybe 2 hours on Friday night. Mary being in Lexington and me having the kids was not ideal just because I'm trying to do post-game stuff and Virginia keeps waking up and coming downstairs. I haven't eaten anything. I haven't showered. I slept from about like 3:30 to 7, and it was pretty restless, both kids in the big bed. And then Mary was hungover after her night in Lexington, so we like just took turns. It's like, all right, kid. Like, they're like, can we get the tape out and build this? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, yeah. whatever project's going to take you 3 hours, just go for it. All worth it, though. All.
It was like the stepbrothers, and they walk in, they're like, can we build bunk beds?
I mean, that's pretty much
no power tools.
Because we also had our niece Audrey was over at the house the entire day because then Mary's sister had gone to Keeneland on Saturday. So, yeah, we had 3 kids. We walked down Hillcrest. I'm seeing double on my lack of sleep. It was fine, though. Everything was worth it. No complaints whatsoever about that weekend. Also, getting a chance to, my dad being over there, my mom being over there, it was very, very cool. And the texter was right on Friday's show where we were saying, the last football game that I watched with my dad was the Stanford game last year. And he was like, the improbable happened in that game. So why couldn't the improbable happen in this game? It was exactly right. Just it was very cool getting to celebrate that with my parents. It had been a while since we had a big win where we were all watching together. So that was a whole lot of fun. Special night, Friday night. 502-414-1450. It's a special day on the text line because we have, I think, 752 texts to get to. And people were texting in. I mean, do this at your own risk. Like, people are texting in for our show at like 10 in the morning and like 1 o'clock. I can't see all of them because I don't want to stomp on the KRC text or the Dennison text or anything like that, Scoots text. So if we missed you, if you try to get in ahead of of everybody else, may have missed you, text back in during the show. But let's get to it. 502-414-1450. Texture says, I mean, let's try to keep it like under 15 paragraphs, guys.
Texture 25 essays.
Yeah, I mean, it's short. We have 3 hours. It's a long show. It's not quite that long. Texas said, I was at the alumni tailgate. Josh Hurd knew what he was doing, including unlimited booze in that package while he walked in and ordered a water, had all the gremlins who attended rocking. Riddler, take back all the bad things you said about Josh Hurd. It's time. Let's go. Texter says, what are your thoughts, is Scoots Hater, what are your thoughts on Miller crying at the end of the game? Also, can you do a football power ranking for the ACC? I mean, I'm fine with him crying at the end of the game. I think it was clearly a cathartic moment for him. Now, hopefully, he resettles. He's got that. He can play a little bit more loose. I mean, there was a moment in the fourth quarter where it felt like the moment was almost getting a little bit too big for him. When he missed Colin Lacey on the quick little swing pass to the outside by like 17 feet, and then we were 3. He looked like, I was like, I don't know if he can handle this. On the last possession, I know we had to give the ball back to Miami, but he did make a outrageously good throw to Chris Bell where he had to kind of fit the ball in between 3 Miami defenders. He put it where only Bell could catch it, hit him right in stride along the sideline. And I thought that was a throw that I think he can build on because that was a pressure-packed moment. The crowd's going nuts. You can feel this game that you thought you had slipping away. I was really impressed there that he made that throw. But, yeah, I mean, I think it was just kind of all this stuff that he's internalized coming out in that moment. And it was a great moment for him. Now let's build on it. That's the thing. Power rankings in the ACC. All right, I mean, let's do a top 5. Roman, you go first. Top 5, your power rankings of the ACC at this moment in time.
Rashawn asked me the same thing on Saturday morning. It was really fresh. It was on the spot, and he talked me through it. He convinced me that Louisville should be above Miami after that victory. You have to go with Georgia Tech at the top, I feel like, at this point. I think that Miami still, just with the wins that they've got versus the wins we've got, still should be counted as the better team. But within ACC play, we beat them.
These are power rankings, though. These are just these are just best teams. We're not worried about who's got the best record. Just power rankings.
Georgia Tech, Louisville, Miami. I don't want to go. SMU.
Yeah. I mean,
Duke.
Duke or Pitt. I mean, Pitt right now. But quietly, Pitt's been pretty damn good since they lost to us in a game that they could have easily won. Blew out BC, beat Florida State, and then just hammered Syracuse on Saturday. So they're right there at 3-1. Producer Matt, what's your top 5?
I'd say I'm actually going to go Louisville, then Georgia Tech.
Louisville number 1. I love it.
Louisville, then Georgia Tech, then Miami, then SMU, then Pittsburgh.
I'll go Virginia over. I'll put Virginia.
Yeah, we're just all. I think Virginia stinks. I'm just going to say it. I don't think Virginia's very good. I was happy that they found a way to beat Washington State because that felt like the class. Like now we can all be like, hey, we beat Miami, 1 loss, and it's to a top 16 team in overtime. I think Virginia's got a bad loss coming. We should have beaten them by 2 touchdowns. I'll still go Miami at 1. I think they're the best team in the conference. I think we played a fantastic game. We deserve to win that game. I still think you put them against every team in the conference 100 times, they probably win more games than anybody else.
That was what I said Saturday.
Yeah. I'll go. I just don't think Georgia Tech's that good. I know they're top 10.
I think Haynes King is good.
I think he's good. I don't know if he's going to be able to.
I think that's one of those teams that it's kind of like a Mario Cristobal team where, like, Haynes King is really good, but the coaching of that team is not very great.
I also think he wears down at the end of the season. He takes way too many. I mean, also, they should have a loss to Wake Forest on their resume. They got bailed out by one of the worst calls of the entire season. They should have lost to Wake Forest. They probably should have lost to Clemson the week before that. They have not, like, they've won a lot of games. They haven't lost any games. they've not been overly impressive. Duke also, I don't know if anybody watched the game Saturday afternoon. Duke had, I think, 4 terrible turnovers in the red zone, including one that was returned for a 95-yard fumble return. Like, Duke should have won that game. So, you know what? Bleep it. Us at 2, Georgia Tech, SMU at 3, Georgia Tech at 4.
Put the 17th in the nation.
I don't care what they're ranked in the nation. This is power rankings.
I get it.
They're 4th best team in the ACC. They got a loss in them coming somewhere. Syracuse this weekend, that may not happen. At NC, God, they're scheduled. They may lose to Pitt. That last weekend could be big. And then Georgia's probably going to beat them by 45, which is going to make the whole damn conference. It's going to be like an 11-0 Georgia Tech team losing 72-3 to Georgia at home because they're not that good. Georgia Tech's 4, Virginia's 5. That's my top 5. Pitt should be up there too. I think Duke's pretty good. It's a great conference. I mean,
It's a great conference.
Big 5 bids.
Big football schools.
5 bids. People keep asking. I know I'm asking the same thing myself. But people are like, who do we need to be rooting for? And you look at the standings, you're like, well, there's 9 teams with 1 loss or fewer. I can't figure it out right now.
Praying on Virginia's downfall. I know that.
We need Virginia to lose clearly. But, yeah, I mean, I can't. Like, people were like, who do you want to win between Georgia Tech and Duke? And I'm like, I can't do the math. I feel like we want Duke to win.
We want Georgia Tech to win out and lose to us in the title game, and both of us get a bid.
Or do we just want to go 11-1 and not make the title game and like have that resume? I think you want to be in the title game.
What if we?
Because we know they're not going to let 3 teams from the ACC into the playoff.
They're already saying there's going to be 1 after that loss with Miami's loss to Louisville.
Why? I mean, why would that hurt the ACC? It doesn't change the fact that Miami beat both Notre Dame, who looks a lot better, and Florida, hammered Florida, beat South Florida, who's ranked in the top 20 right now. Miami still has the best. They have the best resume of any one-loss team in college football. They've got the best wins, strength of record of any team in college football. They're clearly not, overall resumes isn't up there with Ohio State anymore because they lost to us at home. But Miami, if they go 11-1 and don't make the conference championship game, they're going to be in the playoff. And if they're going to be in the playoff, imagine if we go 11-1 and have a win over them on their home field. You got to put us in the playoff at that point. Come on. And then it's like undefeated Georgia Tech and Virginia battling for a spot. You got to have 3 teams in the playoff, maybe 4 from the ACC.
My thing is, like, imagine, so if Virginia drops a game, and then Louisville wins out, let's say Georgia Tech stays undefeated or whatever, but because of the win over us, they get into the conference championship game against Georgia Tech instead of us. What kind of uproar are we going to hear because of their loss to NC State earlier in the year that doesn't count?
This is my thing. It's almost too ACC for it not to happen.
On their downfall.
I am too. I'm unfair. I'm telling you right. Virginia's got losses in them. They're at North Carolina this week. They suck.
Schedule, Mike.
They're at Cal. I think Cal could get them.
Cal's look decent.
Cal, by the way, we're kind of looking at our schedule. We're like, ooh, SMU, Clemson, maybe UK could be. Cal is 5-2, and they beat a Minnesota team that is also 5-2 now after knocking off number 25 Nebraska. They hammered Oregon State on the road. They lost to San Diego State, who I get it was a bad loss. San Diego State's 6-1, so it's not like Cal is this terrible team. Cal could definitely beat Virginia. Wake Forest at home, at Duke, and then Virginia Tech. God, that schedule sucks. They may lose to Duke by 30 though on the road. Virginia stinks. We had no excuse to lose. If that loss costs us the playoff, I will die. I mean, I can't take it anymore. All right, I'm going to do this. I know we're neglecting the text line for just a second, but the last 6 games of the season, let's rank them in terms of difficulty. You've got BC this weekend at home.
75% chance.
Virginia Tech on the road, Cal at home, Clemson at home, SMU on the road, Kentucky at home. I'll go first. I think at SMU is the toughest game we have left.
I think it is as well. We're currently, based on ESPN analytics, not expected to win this game.
Yeah, we would be an underdog if this game were played today. They look pretty good against Clemson. I know they have a losing record. I'll still say Clemson is the second toughest game left on the schedule. It's between Kentucky and Cal, I think, for this third spot. I'll say Kentucky is the third toughest just because rivalry game. Maybe they want to send Stoops out on top. They've played close against decent teams so far this season. I'll put that at third. Plus, they got a running back who's wearing his watch during games. That could get guys hurt. I'll take Cal at home as the fourth toughest game. I'll go at Virginia Tech 5th, and then this week's game I think should be, which we'll talk more about this as the week goes on, I promise. This should be the easiest game left on the schedule against BC. Producer Matt, what do you got?
I'll agree with you and Roman that SMU is going to be the toughest, I think. And then I think I'm actually going to say Cal next.
Okay.
Because I think Clemson's kind of just checked out. They suck.
I hope so.
Dabo sucks. They have nothing to live for. Their season's over. Then I'm going to say
their program's over. I told you.
Their program kind of is over. I'm going to take Kentucky after that, then Virginia Tech, then Boston College. So the only ones that I have different are I think that Cal's going to be above Clemson right there.
Roman?
Something in me, SMU is going to be the toughest game. I believe it's the road games down there in Dallas. Can't imagine that offense is going to be easy to go up against, but I do think our defense is set up to do the things correctly that you have to do to stop SMU's offense, and their defense has let up a good amount of points this year. However, it's still a road game against a good team. I don't want to say this. I don't want to, but Cutter looked good. For how good he can look.
Did not look
For how good he can look, he looked all right.
He's throwing 5-yard jump passes the entire game. That's all
he's running hard. Something, if they
scored 13 points.
If they get one more win somehow, which they shouldn't, Tennessee, Auburn, Florida, but then against Tennessee Tech. They should be able to beat Tennessee Tech, but that's a 7-0 Tennessee Tech team.
They're not. I mean, okay, we're not worried about Tennessee Tech.
I'm just saying, I think Kentucky, if they have anything to want to play hard for at all, which they shouldn't, that could be a tough game here. It's
a rivalry game.
It's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
But to me, Mike, I don't think Cal's defense is very good. I'm not worried about Boston College or Virginia Tech at all.
Don't say that.
Clemson's not scary.
Oh, God.
They're not scary. They just lost to SMU at home.
People are like, oh, Mike, but I thought you said Clemson sucked. I was higher on Clemson than I was supposed to be. I just told you all that they were going to be like 9-3 or 8-4 good. I still think they've got they should not be 3-4. They got way too much talent for that. I just told you their days of being a leader are done, and that Cade Klubnik stunk.
Doesn't feel like that's the second toughest game we've got left.
I think it is. I'm more worried about Clemson than Kentucky. I feel confident in saying that. But that's just me. Cal's got a dynamic. The thing about Cal that's scary is they've got a dynamic freshman quarterback who's still you're not going to be worried about him checking out. He's still going out there trying to prove himself. I mean, he's probably like, I could be the quarterback at Auburn next year if I keep playing well. I got an NIL check to cash here. And they're also, they could theoretically still have someone to play for. They've only got one conference loss as well. So, yeah, that game could be, we'll get there. We'll get there. We're still celebrating. Texter says 502-414-1450. Not sure if it's been mentioned, but looking back, the wins over James Madison and Pitt are looking better today than they did at the time. JMU 6-1. Pitt's won 3 straight since we beat them. Yeah, I mean, the teams that we've beaten have kind of helped us out. Pitt, we beat them, and it's sort of like, ooh, they just lost to West Virginia. That team stinks. And since then, they blew out BC. They beat Florida State, and they hammered Syracuse this past weekend. And, yeah, James Madison still in the conversation to be the Group of 5 representative in the college football playoff. Their only loss this season is to us. So, yeah, I mean, don't talk about the schedule.
They're better than us.
Schedule's great. Oh yeah, I mean, they basically beat Miami this
did.
weekend. I almost made a tweet about it, and I was like, I'm not gonna mess with these because they were like, ooh, Louisville knocks off Miami. I was like, you guys, congratulations.
I literally saw at one point more JMU media outlets talking about Miami than I did like some of my friends who are Louisville fans. And
James Madison belongs in the SEC. They're theoretical champions. They love hypotheticals. It's JMU.
They deserve to be the McGuffin Championship.
We are the McGuffin champions, by the way. First time in the 156 years of college football that Louisville has held the McGuffin championship belt of college football. It's on the line again Saturday. Boston College. Homecoming. Let's go. Roman Hader says, first-time texter. Stop doing that. I've always loved this team. Thankfully, I'm a first-time texter, so you can't go back and look at me saying anything about ever hating this team. May or may not have tweeted at Hannah Carpenter on Friday, hoping she would fall for me, and I show her what a real man can give her in Glade. I can't read that part. Unlike that fraud Carson Beck. Anyways, go Cards, go Krogering, and suck it, Scoots. You're Roman Hater. You're not even Scoots Hater. Congratulations on your first text, though.
He was down on this team, Mike.
I think that's the joke.
He called it the most boring offense. I remember.
Yeah.
In the Brom era so far.
People don't forget. Boxcar Bob says, I'm sure between all the texts and discussion that you'll cover any points I had to make about the game, so I'll go a different route. Where was Glenn on the emergency pod? My dad had to leave before we were able to do the emergency pod. I did get him to shoot the video where we're celebrating the win, which I thought was very fun, very cool. But he and Mom, by the time the game ended, Mom had gotten the kids down to sleep, and they knew I had to do some stuff for work, so he bounced, and Danny and I did it. We actually had like 3 different takes. We tried to get the Twitter Spaces to work while we were recording the podcast, because Twitter Spaces, if you record it, it makes everybody sound like they have a lisp, and it just sounds terrible, and we're not technologically savvy enough to do that, so that didn't work out well. But yeah, would have liked to have gotten a comment from him. I'm sure he was given a lot of double high fives. My dad was very excited on Friday night. He gets over to the house. For new listeners, my dad, notoriously pessimistic fan, like just thinks we're going to lose every single game we play, even when we're up by 40 points. My whole child, he gets over within the first 30 seconds of him being at the house. He's like, I got Miami 31-7 tonight. And I was like, really? I was like, can you say hi to the kids first, Dad? Come on. He's like, we're going to get stomped. And then he was very, very happy to be wrong. Texter says, 1, Chris Bell is the bleep. There were all the attempts to take him from us the last few off seasons, and he stuck around. It's great to see him finally thriving. 2, do you think Braum will get an extension soon with his name popping up on some vacancy lists? Yes, I do. That's not like inside info or anything like that. It's just kind of reading between the lines. I mean, they posted the stat, and I feel like it's something that I should have known, but I did a double take just like I think everybody else when they posted the graphic about most ACC wins over the last, 3 years, 2 years, and he was number 1. I was like, is that right?
Wasn't it the way they've been tied if he lost? I think it was like 28-26 or 38-36 or something.
I think it's 20. He had 23, and then I think Cristobal was second with 22, and Dabo was right there with 22 or 21. Yeah. And yeah, he jumped ahead. But you're kind of doing the math. You're like, oh yeah, we went 7-1 2 years ago, and 5-3 last year. Dabo's been bad this year, and Cristobal's been a little bit up and down. So you kind of think about it, you're like, damn, yeah, it makes I think all of us feel silly for any of the doubt and the complaints. It's like he's done a pretty good job here so far. We're in pretty good shape. But yeah, if you've got I don't think Jeff's going anywhere. But if you're his agent, with all these high profile jobs that are out there, you got to at least use it as leverage. Florida's is available now. Penn State's been available. There are a handful of other big time jobs that are either opening up or have already opened up. So yeah, if I'm guessing, I think Jeff, assuming this season keeps going the way that it is now, I think Jeff will probably get a little bit of a.
You guys don't want Jeff.
Bonus.
Leave him here.
He lost to Stanford last year, for God's sake.
Got a clunker every year. You don't want that.
Classic clunker. Yeah,
he pitched us Miller Moss. Come on, guys.
Come on, guys. He whiffed. He got the wrong quarterback. Come on. Texter says, by the way, the Chris Bell stuff. He was briefly, and I don't think he ever officially put his name in the portal. Is that right? I don't know. I can't remember if it was official or not. I will tell you, he was out there kind of hearing offers and stuff, and there's a lot of talk about Texas reaching out and all. I can't confirm the rumor that's out there about them offering 7 figures for Chris Bell. I do know that Texas was one of the schools, and it was multiple, that had reached out to Chris Bell and whose agent kind of came back, and they're like, hey, so these schools want Chris. And he was, I think, asking for a lot, and they found a happy medium. Because Chris Bell wanted to be here. The staff obviously wanted to keep him for another season. But he could have probably, there's no problem, he could have gone somewhere else and made more money. And he chose to stick around here for a little bit less money than he was being paid potentially somewhere else. He deserves a lot of respect from the fan base. No question about it. Texter says, a bunch of guys made big plays to take down Goliath. I will add, I loved seeing Chris Bell, our bona fide star, who we want to see get drafted early, absolutely go off on this primetime stage. He's slowly become one of my favorite receivers here, and I love the way we've watched him develop into the pro that he will be. I mean, Miami was trying to get him to do something stupid. I mean, this was one of the most underrated parts of this game. Miami was the team that was doing the undisciplined crap, where they're shoving dude. By the way, D'Angelo Hutchinson taking the flop on the first
Love
shot.
it.
Well, I mean, yes, well done. Give him a little bit of nudge. Then when he shoves you back, that's a 6'4" behemoth. Yeah, of course he's going to knock you down. Get the penalty. Let's go. Little stuff like that was huge.
He was all over the place.
He was all over the place. I mean, that hit where I think he separated his shoulder momentarily was a gigantic pop. But our guys didn't do any of that. There was jawing happening the entire game. We didn't have anybody who was like, all right, I'm going to punch you in the helmet. Like, we held off. They were the ones doing the stupid stuff. Also, I mean, Chris Bell, 2 years ago, Chris Bell pulls a full-on Happy Gilmore, second Happy Gilmore reference of the show, on the double birds guy in the crowd. Like pulls him into and like does like the hockey thing where he rips off his shirt and then knocks him out.
Yeah, that would have been the end of his game right there.
Chris Bell, this time he's just like dancing right in his face. How do we think the rest of the weekend went for double bird guy?
Oh, not great.
I
saw
He looked like
tweets of
he was
people-
losing money in live time.
he got a call from somebody in Miami, right?
I saw tweets of people breaking down his outfit and everything about how much money it cost to be at this game and where the outfit he was. And it was like, imagine paying all this money just to flip birds at Chris Bell.
He's a 21-year-old kid, yeah, just like right in his face the entire time. I mean, somebody from Miami had to have reached out and been like, hey, because every ticket's registered to somebody. You can't like flick off kids like right in their face after touchdowns on national TV. Also, if you go back and you watch the fake field goal, which we watched a little bit ago, he's one of the biggest like Miami idiots celebrating it. He's like going nuts, like they just won the Super Bowl. I'm like, buddy, we just got first and goal at the half-yard line. Maybe tone it down a little bit. Double bird guy. Least cool person of the year nominee, right there. Props to Chris Bell though for not knocking him out. All right, we got to go to break. When we come back, more from you guys. Game Day Men's Health text line, the number 502-414-1450. Million texts to read, but we're going to get to as many as we can because it's your damn show. It's your damn celebration, and it's back after the break here on the Big X. 4 o'clock hour now. More from you on the Game Day Men's Health text line momentarily at 502-414-1450. We had to have been the most upbeat show on the station today. You had a couple of Indiana shows. You got Michael Bennett licking the wounds there. You got KRC being all upset, and then we're coming in here just like dancing, just disco ball, just feeling good. You know who I blame? So Lexington, bad weekend, right? You've got lost to Texas in the most excruciating fashion imaginable. You've got this blue-white scrimmage where Jalen Lowe gets hurt. Sounds like he's going to be okay, I think, right? But still, scary moment. I told you about this damn Annabelle doll. When I found out she's coming to Kentucky, I was like, well, the vibes are off. And then people are like, well, she's going to Lexington. I was like, okay, the vibes are okay. Why would anybody want that doll? If the doll's coming within, 5 miles of Louisville, we all need to leave. Keep that doll the hell away from us. I don't know why people want to hang out with the doll, why they're paying money to take pictures with the doll. What more? She killed a guy like 2 months ago, and now she's trying to kill Kentucky athletics. Keep her away from here. Get her away. Throw her in the ocean. Get her out of here. That's where your problem is. It's not Mark Stoops. It's not Jalen Lowe getting hurt. It's that damn doll. By the way, I made one joking tweet about needing to extend Mark Stoops for keeping it close against Texas. The amount of reactions from people taking it seriously.
Don't go to a bar around town, buddy.
I mean, he tried that in a small town. The guy did. He's like, how about you say that stuff in Lexington, man? See what happens. I'm like, are people bringing up hypothetical Mark Stoops contract scenario across bars in Lexington and just getting their asses kicked everywhere? It's like 5 years, $90 million. Like punching him. That's all I can imagine.
I just imagine you go out to dinner and then you see Mitch Barnhart and he's like, you get into a fight with him. He's like halfway drunk. He's like, I'll extend Mark Stoops right now if you don't stop talking.
Lifetime contract, you son of a just going off. That's how it is. I did love the varying celebrate. First of all, big time shout out to the Cards fans that made the trip down there to Miami. You could hear. So I got home from radio at about 6 o'clock. Flipped on. They had Sports Center live at Miami for a bunch of in-game check-ins. They had Jeff Brom on the interview before. And you could hear the U of L fans that were there for warm-ups doing CARDS cheers in the crowd, which was awesome. And you could hear them throughout the game. Now, it got a little bit more crowded as the game went on because I guess it's impossible to travel around Miami. Still, you got a number 2 team in the country. Plan your schedule accordingly. Don't let the stadium look 60% full at kickoff. It was embarrassing. Yes, I'm judging you, Miami fans. You're supposed to be big bad to you, number 2 in the country. We're back. Well, no, you're not.
Abelson said they were pumping noise in there, Mike. It was fake noise.
That's what I heard. But Clemson is the king of that. If you go to a Clemson game, they absolutely pump in fake noise. Miami, I'm sure, was doing it as well. But you could hear Louisville fans booing when there were terrible calls. Louisville fans went down there and showed out. Props to all of you who made the trip. You made a difference. Congratulations to you. But it was so funny on Saturday night. Like I said, people are texting me videos of what they're doing. So my wife has a video of her. She's out with her friends at a kind of like a fancy restaurant, and where the old people go in Lexington because we're old now. And it's her friends who are all UK fans. And they're clapping and she's cheering and just very laid back. And then Patrick Ryan, I hope he's okay with me telling the story. Intern Patty, couldn't be more proud of him. This is how we breed him here at the Big X. He is at Tin Roof Lexington, which is one of the bigger bars for the college age kids. He and some friends are on chairs doing CARDS in front of all these pissed off Kentucky fans. And he's like, that at that point it was okay, but then a guy tried to help me down, and I said, Cards, mother bleeper, and I got kicked out of the bar. And then I didn't realize, I tried to go next door. Apparently there's a rule at the bar next door. If you get kicked out of Tin Roof, you can't go in that one. And he's like, this place sucks. The bars are dead anyway. It's not cool at all. I'm like, I've never been more proud of you. He's like, oh, it was worth it. So he sends me that video. I'm like, very nice juxtaposition between my wife at the classy Lexington restaurant and Patty screaming CARDS at Cats fans at a Tin Roof bar. But props to him. He's a hero. He's making plays out there in Lexington. Well done. Credit to everybody. However you celebrated this weekend, you did the Lord's work.
It was just funny because I produced KRC, right before running with Roman.
Yeah.
So I'm in a group message with TJ and Stephen Peak, and so while the game was going on, or they watched the Louisville game as well. They had some takes on that, and then I watched the UK game the next day. The differences in text messages between the 2 days were hilarious, and I every time something would happen in the UK game, it was like, all right, TJ, what's going on, man? How's it going? And then unfortunately, Jalen Lowe goes down with an injury, and then Stephen Peak was extremely upset about that. TJ even texted him, was like, Steve, I think you might need to take a breath. I think you might need to step away from the media for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a rough weekend.
Poor TJ had to host the show, too, on Saturday night.
I did hear some of that.
Yeah. Sure, it wasn't very fun. I just middle double bird guy just gave it to Chris Bell after the touchdown right here on the replay. I'm loving it. So good. It's incredible. So good that I've lost my train of thought there. Anyways, 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Texter says, this our guy Chris the teacher, he said, my thoughts, one, thank God we don't have to remember this as the Isaac Brown fumble game. I mean, we would have. We have in the annals of awful U of L losses that we remember. I mean, we remember the Miami game in 2004. A lot of people do, at least, as the Kerry Rhodes dropped interception game. The Rutgers game in 2006 is the Willie Gay jumping off sides game. If the Stanford game meant more last year, it would be like the Tayon Holloway personal foul penalty game. This would have forever been remembered as the Isaac Brown fumble game. When you brought up Miami, and as good as Isaac has been in the first year and a half of his college career, it would have been so devastating that I think it would have been one of the – I mean, Kerry Rhodes was an All-American safety who played 15 years in the NFL, was an All-Pro, and when you bring up his name around here, and I love Kerry, but you bring up his name around here, the first thing that a lot of Louisville fans remember is, oh, he dropped the interception against Miami. And Isaac Brown could go out there and be, 15-time Pro Bowler, 5-time Super Bowl champion, and you would have brought up his name around here, and people like, oh, he fumbled against Miami, cost us that game. I mean, James Quick, what do you think of when you say James Quick? Had a pretty good college career. People remember going out of bounds against Clemson.
I mean, the dude won a Heisman, but the Lamar fumble game against Kentucky. Like,
people
I hear
remember
about that till this day.
For sure. We absolutely would have remembered the game in that way. Thank God we don't have to anymore. 2, Brom coach circles around Cristobal, but we also had guys on both sides of the ball making huge plays all night long. 3, I owe Ron English an apology and a $10 Heine Brothers gift card. He'd never be this dumb and depraved, but if he made a video of himself in a fighter jet dropping poop on fans like me, I wouldn't blame him. Yeah, I mean, if Ron English wanted to come on the show and just mother bleep me up and down, I'd be like, yeah, sure, man. Like, I did not say it like I don't do we try not to do the hot take radio stuff where it's like, yeah, fire him or give him $1 million contract every single week. But towards the end of last season, I said if I was Jeff Brom and I was in charge, I would not have brought Ron English back for this season. Clearly, I was entirely wrong. The defense has been remarkable. They're a joy to watch. And it's not just that we have really good players. We've got players that, like he said all offseason, seem to be playing for one another, seem to be an effective unit. It's not just a couple of good players here and there going out there and looking for individual stats. We've got guys who all understand how this is supposed to work as a machine. And it's working incredibly well right now. Props to we singled out a lot of guys, but another guy that needs an individual mention, every time it felt like they were in a situation where it was open space, one-on-one matchup, if we make the tackle, it's a minimal gain. If we don't make that first tackle, it's like a 15-yard pickup. TJ Quinn was making a play. I mean, he was on every time Carson Beck tried to scramble when we dropped a bunch of guys and only had 4 pass rushers. Quinn was right there to make a play. He made a couple of plays on quick screens. He made a couple of plays against running backs in space. He was phenomenal in this game. Everybody defensively was phenomenal in this game, but I thought he and Jabari Mack, to me, really stood out. And Renee Conga up front, he's never going to get the stats in this system that are going to make him like a house. But there's a reason why I think it was Pro Football Sports Network had him as a first-team midseason All-American. He gets pushed on everybody. He pushes that line of scrimmage back single-handedly and just makes things happen. He doesn't get the direct results, but he forces quarterbacks out of the pocket. He plugs up the gaps that big backs are trying to run through. Everybody defensively has been phenomenal. And props to Ron English for making it all happen. He's been great. Texter says, what a game. What a weekend. First we beat Miami, then the next morning I got a PR in the Urban Bourbon Half Marathon. Thank you, Jeff Brom. Thank you, Ron English. Thank you, Texter. Congratulations on your PR. Just running on pure adrenaline after that victory. I mean, the amount of people that were still texting me at like 2:30 in the morning. I was like, I love these nights. These are the best nights. We were talking about Matt. It's like his girlfriend's. He's like scrolling through his video, just like watching stuff, listening to podcasts. That was me, except it was 2 kids in my bed, like flailing everywhere as I'm trying to like every tweet that pops up on my For You page. It was incredible. Just the best nights. Roman, what were you doing at 3 in the morning? Enough said. Dave, teacher from Jeffersonville, says, Split Zone Duo played a Paul Rogers call in their recap episode, and it was beautiful for me as a longtime listener of both. I'm sorry these might be a little thick. You can skip if you need to, but here's an overreaction or proper reaction. Okay, we'll do this. Overreaction or proper reaction, losing to BC in the Brahms stinker game is less likely than any previous year. No travel, night game at home with a bit of hype. Let's pack the stadium and win by 30. I think that's proper reaction. I think this BC team is, like, Stanford was awful last year, but the road element was the big thing.
Yeah, the stinkers have always come on the road.
Both, Pitt 2 years ago and Stanford come on the road. This BC team has no momentum. They do have a little bit of talent offensively, but they lost to 15 at home to UConn last week. This is the least likely to happen, although I will not take this game lightly. We will get there later this week. Matt, proper reaction, overreaction, what do you say?
I think it's a proper reaction. Yeah. I don't see – I guess I think it's going to be a fun game. You're going to come off of a huge win, get to play at home at night in front of a game that seems like there's going to be a decent amount of people there because their fan base is revitalized. I'm hoping, we get to see a clean game with a nice run game in it.
Proper reaction, overreaction. I actually wanted UK to win on Saturday. Only time that's ever been true with Stoops. I can't go that far. I'm like you. There was definitely a part, like Mary's. I was watching outside and eating. Mary had the game on inside, and she texted me and she was like, "Damn it, Kentucky," or something like that when they scored to tie it up or send it to overtime. And I was like, I actually don't even care if he wins this game because I can never bring myself to root for them. But I wouldn't have hated it if he made it weird. If he beats Texas at home, I know Texas stinks. They look terrible. Arch is completely a bust. But if they win that game and maybe they win one more, kind of tough to fire him at 5-7. It's a little bit in between. But I still say overreaction. I can't bring myself to root for Kentucky in any situation ever unless it directly gets us into the playoff or something like that. Roman, was there any part of you that was rooting for UK?
No. I don't want them to ever win, Mike.
Same.
I do want them to not look as bad as possible when they play us, so it's weird. It's like I want them to reach a certain win number each year.
I don't. I want them to go.
But I also I can never, within the game happening, root for them.
Yeah. Producer Matt, any part of you rooting for UK?
Oh, no. This might have been one of the hardest football games to watch I've ever seen.
I didn't watch much of it because we'd taken the kids out and done Hillcrest for the second time, which poor Virginia was terrified of Hillcrest. She was shaking literally. But we got back and then had to get them ready for bed and stuff. So I only got to watch the fourth quarter, and it was one of those where I'm like, why am I even watching this? It's neither team wants to win. Texas is actively working against themselves. This is awful football.
No, I literally could not tell which team wanted to lose the most, and then Mark Stoops and Mark Stoops fashion showed like South Park. You're gonna cream us.
Yeah,
we're terrible.
That's how he felt. You could tell it bothered him, but get better players. Overreaction, proper reaction. The first offensive drive is one of the best in program history. It was great. Certainly one of the most memorable. I'll say proper reaction. I don't know, as far as setting a tone, big time tone setter, no question about it. Roman.
I mean, I don't have enough history on first drives in big games, but
how could it not be?
Yeah,
it's a great drive. Matt, agree?
I'll give a proper reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended on a fake field goal that Miami embarrassed themselves on, then we scored points. I'll take that.
The last one,
we did everything we wanted to do.
Yeah. Considering the schedule layout, this is the most open path to the playoffs we've ever had.
Proper reaction.
I mean, it might be. I mean, we played in the AC title game 2 years ago, but that was the 4-team playoff, so we wouldn't have gotten in anyway. People will bring up 2016. The reality is we found out at the end of the season that after that Clemson game, we had no chance because they ended up saying that was the year where they justified getting Alabama in because they were like, winning your conference championship is so important, and that's why Washington didn't get in and Bama got in. So us not getting a chance to even play in the conference championship game basically excluded us from the playoff, even if we'd gone 11-1. So, yeah, I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. Maybe we look back and we do go 11-1, we don't get in the playoff, and we're like, we never had a chance anyway. But with how kind of crazy the season's already been, with how crazy that I think things can get in the ACC, yeah, I mean, I think if we went out, we probably play in the ACC title game, and even if we don't, we probably have a valid case to be one of those at-large teams. So,
the interesting part is
control what you can control.
Can SMU get in the top 25 with in their next 3 games, a win at Wake Forest, probably a loss at home to Miami, and then a win at Boston College before they see us?
If they've got 3 losses, then no.
So
Because they have no real notable wins. If they beat Miami, I think they'll be in the top 25 when we play them. But losing relatively handily to two good, not great Big 12 teams probably eliminates that. So we're probably not going to play another ranked team this season. But if Miami continues to be really, really good and they go 11-1, or and kind of steamroll through the rest of the ACC, and we go 11-1, and we're like, hey, our only loss is to Virginia, and it was a fluky game against a pretty good team. That's a pretty solid case. You'd love to have that Indiana game on your resume, but James Madison winning out could also help us there. Texter says, Mike, if I can change and you can change and Miller Moss can change and the O-line can change, everybody can change. Our odds have certainly changed. Go Cards. I love Miller Moss just listening to our show as he's warming up on Friday. Just listening to my terrible Rocky impression and my Ivan Drago, explaining to Roman the plot of Rocky IV, and just letting him know that he's like, does he win or does he lose? I'm like, oh, he dies. Like, Apollo Creed's dead at the beginning of the movie.
Odds about cut in half, Mike. Down to plus 270 to make the playoff. Ooh. Still only plus 500 to win the ACC championship game. So I guess that's good though. That means more. It's possible for us to not go and win the ACC championship and still make the playoff.
It's certainly. I mean, get a bunch of. Now they'll give an SEC team with 3 losses a bit of the playoff this year because they wanted to do it last year but couldn't feel like they could justify it. They'll do it. So if it's like 11-1 us versus 9-3 Georgia or somebody, we won't get in. We need some more weird stuff to happen. And in that, but again, we can talk about that at a later time. Apollo Creed, dead. Rocky wins, fights back. Miller Moss, show listener, confirmed.
They showed the card tape yesterday.
Oh, it's great.
And there is like a 4-second scene where like Miller Moss is in the locker room by himself. Like there's nobody sitting next to him. He's got AirPods in. Is like leaned into the cubby, and I just imagine him just listening to the Mike Rutherford show.
He was. Clearly was.
He was getting ready for
coincidences, man. There are none. We love you, Miller. Keep getting it done. I did love the card tape was great. I loved Miller Moss. I didn't hear this live on Friday night, but my guy Logan Wade caught the clip of it. They asked him during the post-game press conference, what was your reaction when TJ Capers makes that interception? And he pauses for a few seconds, and he just goes, holy bleep. Like he says the S word. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much everybody at that point, because it just felt like, oh, man. I mean, best case scenario is we go to overtime. I mean, also, I'm thinking their kicker, which makes the play call even more dumb that Miami has there, their kicker hadn't missed a field goal all season long. They've been the best field goal kicking team for the last 10 years in college football, and this kid that they've got, I think it's like 12 of 12. So he's damn near automatic. And I don't know if you guys caught the clip, because initially I was like, it's a bad look for Carson Beck. He kind of throws his wide receiver under the bus. They ask him what happens on that play, and he says he ran the wrong route. And I didn't realize that Mario Cristobal had gone on first, and Cristobal, before Beck says anything, he says, I can't remember the receiver's name. He's like, he's the tight end. It's we blitz from the corner. You got a hot route. The tight end's supposed to turn in and be there for like the quick throw, and he didn't do that. He ran the wrong route. And apparently in his interview, Beck, like they asked the same question basically 3 times, and he kind of just plays it off. He's like, he's like, we just. And then the 4th time, he's finally like, all right, I'm going to repeat what my coach had said. He ran the wrong route, and it did look like he ran the wrong route. You're supposed to settle in. Still, Beck can't throw that ball. I mean, that's the one thing you can't. You're in field goal range already. Overtime is basically guaranteed. Although I still, like you said, I was shocked that they were playing for overtime. It seemed like, the announcer like, is Louisville thinking about using a timeout? And I'm like, no, like, let it go down. Like they're like at the 50 and running clock under the 2-minute timeout. I'm like, hell yeah. Like best case scenario for them at this point looks like it's going to be a 40-yard field goal. I'll sign up for that since they have all the momentum in the world. Yeah, like, let's go. And then they helped us out even more.
Either way, I mean, TJ Capers, jumps that ball before it's even thrown. Like, it was honestly, I said it talked to Roman about it earlier, that Carson Beck in Miami are probably lucky that ball gets tipped because at least he has a chance to drop it. Like, he might have housed that thing.
Yeah, the tip, and people were like, well, it's a great play by JoJo Evans. It did not positively impact the play. TJ Capers is there whether the ball gets tipped or not. He reads that play correctly and makes
really
the jump.
Similar to his first interception for Louisville.
Yeah, the pick 6 in the game last year. Yeah, for sure. Texture says, Oh, this is a text in the morning to Scoot Show. I like Mike Rutherford's tweet that UK should extend Mark Stoops. Thank you. I thought it was very funny. Other people did not think it was that. I thought it was just kind of a cute moment right there. It was for Louisville fans, and then Kentucky fans are like, I mean, I got like several just F-U's, F-offs. And then a decent amount of UK fans that were playing along with it, which I always appreciate. Shout out to you for having senses of humor. Texture says, hey, Mike and Roman, beyond excited for the big win. We need some breaks, but I think we have a legit shot at an ACC title game. Take care of business. Hope Virginia gets a couple conference losses and hope we land on a tiebreaker scenario that gets us in. At least we're back in the game, and now we have a vested interest in scoreboard watching and conference play, which makes the season way more exciting in general to keep tabs on. No question about it.
Very true.
I mean, if we, like I said, if we'd lost this game, even if it were a close loss, we'd be talking about it today a little bit. We'd be talking about it tomorrow a little bit, and then we'd be kind of getting off the beat. Like Friday's show would be solely focused on Louisville, Kansas exhibition basketball. There'd be a little bit of Boston College talk mixed in, but for the most part, we would have to give the people what they wanted to hear, which would not be much about the football game. And now, yeah, we're all excited about the basketball exhibition, but it's just an exhibition. The game against, like, I'm juiced up. I don't care how bad BC is. We've got, I want to see how well we can play after having, like, riding the momentum wave of going down and pulling off one of the most significant wins in program history. I want to see us, like, I want to see how Isaac Brown looks. I want to see if we can get Duke Watson back in the mix here. I want to see if Miller Moss can take a step forward. I want to see the defense continue to feast. And I want to get, like, the game matters. If you lose it, everything you just did goes out the window. If you win it, it just makes the game after that all the more important. Like I said, every week feels like a playoff elimination game at this point for Louisville, and that's incredibly exciting. Texas says, I want to point out how our linebackers and safeties were responsible for shutting the Miami running game down and laying the lumber on their giant running backs. I mean, the popping that was happening out there was next level. You knew it was going to be like that's the only way to play a team that's that physical, is to be as physical as you can in response. If you go back and watch, you'll see the first handful of carries by their running backs saw them hitting the holes full speed and dragging a couple of our guys forward for decent gains. But every single time they did that, they paid for it by getting lit up by our players. Fast forward to the second quarter, and the running backs weren't hitting the holes quite as hard anymore. Our guys punished them, and they were getting scared the rest of the game. I think that's exactly right. I felt the exact same way. There wasn't, it's one thing to feel like when you get the ball in your hands, you're going to be the one delivering the blow, and that's why you feel confident in going full speed right from the line of scrimmage. If you feel like you're going to get popped the second you get the ball in your hands, you're stutter stepping a little bit. You're trying to find that hole and making a move, and that's Miami backs were kind of stutter stepping a little bit.
They weren't calling any runs to the outside.
They refused. That's Shannon Dawson. He has his tendencies. We gambled that he would refuse to change, and we gambled correctly because they ran all the same stuff that they usually do. He ran every single staple of a Shannon Dawson offense and refused to change. Now, the longest run of the game for Miami was 12 yards. We are halfway through this season. We haven't given up a single run of 20 yards or more. Can you imagine? I mean, this whole summer we're like, hopefully we don't have to win games 72-65 this season. Imagine telling us that we will have 0 runs allowed of 20 yards or more after 6 games. Like the odds against that would have had to have been monumental. I can't say enough good things about this defense and how well they've played.
I mean, that same running back had multiple 20-yard runs last season against us.
Yeah. I mean, we're still not even to texts that have come in like at the start of the show. We're like 229 texts. Texas winning both lines of scrimmage has me dreaming big dreams the rest of the season and beyond for Louisville. If they can play like that against those dudes from Miami, they can perform well against anyone. The run game finally got on track, which should pay massive dividends going forward. Shout out Chris Bell, too, first-round pick. I mean, we found out, we know the offensive line can get it done now. We know the run game can get it done now. The defense we already kind of knew about, they just proved it on a much bigger stage than they had before this. The question moving forward is, can they maintain the focus? Can they get up for Boston College and Virginia Tech and Cal the same way they got up for Miami? And that's I think the test of a mature team that's ready to compete for championships. We haven't had that maturity the last couple of years, and it's bitten us in the ass. This Saturday, I mean, we just want to go out there and win the game and avoid the quote-unquote Brom clunker. But if we go out there and just put it on them for 4 quarters, I think that's a pretty solid sign that we've turned a corner. And that, I mean, because it's not like Jeff Brom's going to go through the motions this week and not say you got to, all the things that we're saying now, you got to treat this just like it's not like last year he was like, Stanford sucks. Don't worry about them, guys. We're going to be fine. Let's start game planning for, Kentucky. That was never the case. It's on the players, though, to absorb that message and go out there and play like it's the Miami game. And we haven't seen that the last couple of years. I want to see it on Saturday. I want to see the run game continue to go. I want to see Isaac Brown going against Boston College the same way he was going against Miami. Texas says Jeff Brom crawled into Cristobal's little brain on those first couple of drives, and the effects of that were clear the rest of the night. Cristobal was so scared that we would pick up the 4th down that he let us drain the last 50 seconds of the first half. He did. He was so scared of giving us the ball back at the end of the game that he was playing for a long field goal just to tie it. Also, while I love that it's Victory Monday here on the show, I sure hope it's not Victory Monday over at the practice facility. This week is now a show-me game for Brom to get past the letdown narrative. Yeah, we can do this. Miller, I know you're listening. You can't do it. Chris Bell, I know you love the show. Can't do it. You guys got to focus. But we're going to celebrate here. And we have another hour to do it with you on the Game Day Men's Health text line. Got to go to break. When we come back, more from you guys. 502-414-1450 is the number. Keep the text rolling in. We love it. We'll keep celebrating after the break. It's the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450, 96.1, Big X Sports Radio.
I got that sunshine in my
of Big X Sports Radio. Mike Rutherford Show presented by United Mechanical and Nexus Plus, 1450-96.1 Big X Sports Radio. Reminder, if you've been hurt in an accident or on the job, call our guys over at the Collier Law Firm. Tony and the crew there, they got you covered. If you need help getting the most money for your recovery, they got you there. If you need help keeping the most money for your recovery, they definitely have you covered there, which is why their attorney fees start at just 25%, not 45, 50, 75%. I don't think any firm is going to make you do that. But if they do, the Collier Law Firm will undercut them 100% at just 25%. 502-736-8141 is the phone number. CollierLawFirm.com is the website. COLYER lawfirm.com. Hurt in an accident, hurt on the job, Collier Law Firm. All right, I mean, we have so many texts to get to, so we got to keep it trucking here. 502-414-1450 is the Game Day Men's Health text line. Haven't reminded you yet, so need to do so now. That Game Day Men's Health is redefining men's wellness. No shortcuts, just results. Testosterone, peptides, weight loss, and sexual performance therapy. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com today to find out how they're defining a new era in men's health. Let's get to it. Let's go back. I mean, we're at 233 text here. Love you guys. Love it. The excitement level off the charts. Texas says, putting away recency bias, is the Miami victory more satisfying than last year's Clemson win? I honestly think it is, just because of what it meant to this particular Louisville football team. Low expectations for a victory, but a victory that no one saw coming. Yes, I think so. The Clemson win.
No.
You don't think so?
I'm actually going to agree with Roman. I think
Mike,
the Clemson win is better for me.
We had never beat them. You know how bad I wanted to beat them?
We'd never beaten a top 10 team on the road. Ever. But the Clemson win last year was just about beating Clemson. I think they were 14th in the country. We had already lost 2 conference games and 3 games overall. Like, that was kind of the one thing that was out there, was like, let's wreck some stuff for Clemson. And we did it, and it was fun. And look, I loved it as much as anybody. I stayed up at all hours just trolling Clemson fans. It was like I've been waiting 10 years to send that tweet that I was able to send about them storming their own field after a home loss. It was incredible. But it didn't open up any new doors for us. It didn't change the fact that we were going to be on the outside looking into the playoff and all that stuff. It was just about beating a Clemson team that we'd never beaten before. To me, this is more impactful.
More impactful, yeah. Satisfying, though, Mike.
Oh, okay, I can buy that. I don't agree, but that's a personal thing.
Personally, last year, what that meant after how many times it felt like we had gotten close, had the better team. Well, I mean, not like we had a better team many times more than Clemson, but a couple years where we played a winning game against them and didn't come out with a victory. That just, the satisfaction there and the way we did it felt really, really good. This one was like, I don't know, like halfway through the game, it felt like the expectation. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think halfway through the Clemson game, we were kicking the crap out of them for the entirety of that game. So, I mean, I think it was
still worried that the defense, at a certain point was just going to. This one was like, okay, there's no reason to go and lose this game based on what we've seen in this first half. That one was just never beat them in that place. That's just huge.
It also,
as a fan,
the end of the Dabo Swinney era, basically.
Well, I already told you 4 years ago that was already happening. I mean, so you guys may have thought that. I told you when I came on the air 2021 that they were done. So I was way past. It was just
you weren't even surprised last year, Mike. It was all expected for you. For us,
well, I mean, it was surprised. Sometimes game by game. I knew Clemson was done. That's all I'll say. They are done.
This was more significant. That one was more satisfying.
If any of you guys try to sell me on Clemson this summer, by the way, I don't care if they win out and they beat us by 45 points. If anybody's like, they're top 10 good, I'll smack you in the face. I'll come and find out where you live, and I'm going to come and smack you in the face.
What if Dabo Swinney brings in
I'll smack him in
medical
the face,
miracle Roman to be quarterback? Can somebody sell Roman as a quarterback?
He wouldn't do it. He doesn't take guys like Roman. He doesn't take transfer guys. He wants his own culture. He wants to build from within. It's not the Dabo way,
Matt. Christ-like to take me, Matt.
Yeah, you don't.
A lot of eligibility left.
You don't pray hard enough. Although you do have a good affiliation here. You may like.
I do.
He likes your work background. He's impressed by the telethon. Texture says, Mike, unrelated to football, but we need to get that cursed doll out of our state. I told you. It already took out Jalen Lowe. We can't have it take out any of our players. Well, I think what we've learned is it only matters to the city that it's in. If you're directly around it, if you're within a 5-mile radius, you're bleeped. Get her out of here. Take her back up to the Northeast, whatever. Throw her in an ocean. Get that doll out of my face.
Why is she touring anyway?
I don't, because people want to pay money to see her. I don't. It's absolutely crazy. Texas, remember my text from last Friday? Are you kidding me right now that Miller Moss actually referenced the movie after the game? Yeah, we talked about it. We'll attach the video. We saw it. But wondering if it now organically have a nickname for texting in. Rocky Balboa guy, Ivan Drago guy, Rocky and I think you're Rocky 4 guy is what you are. I think you're absolutely Rocky 4 guy. But it wasn't just his post game. He posted on his Instagram. The last picture was the photo of Rocky staring down Drago before the fight. We love you, Miller. By the way, Miller Moss, the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award quarterback of the week. How about that?
There it is.
People are like, oh, he shouldn't be in the top 25. Now he's just winning awards, right and left. Just taking home awards.
Guys were mad when he got put on the watch list. Now look.
I would love to see the response. I mean, how many people went back and looked at that tweet from 2 weeks ago and just deleted a bunch of their responses from the award watch list? Texas, I got so drunk Friday night celebrating like I just stopped a fake field goal. Good text. But you didn't stop it. You just held it short of the end zone. Texas, so many good things to say about the game on Friday, including the return of Brahms' play calling abilities. I especially want to note the physicality of the Cards. Not only were we equally matched, but we actually out-toughed them. Better tackling, better blocking, etc. Fantastic game. Go Cards. Yeah. I mean,
Miami looked like they didn't want to tackle, Mike.
They did. After a while, I mean, we were relentless. I saw the quote, and I heard a couple of the Miami postgame shows talking about this, but I can't remember the player that said it. But there was one player on the team defensively who was like, I hate to admit this, but they wanted it more than we did. Like they played harder than we did. And it's such a demoralizing thing when you hear that on your own side, but it's such a badge of pride when you hear somebody else saying it about your team. We did. If you hadn't seen either one of those teams play a single snap all season, and you watched Friday night's game, you would say, oh, well, Louisville's the more physical team. They seem to play hard. They're flying around the field a little bit more. We had, I know that our offense was mostly focused on two guys. Chris Bell and Isaac Brown, I think, accounted for 82% of our offensive yards. But besides Malachi Toney, they didn't really have anybody that hurt us offensively. Like they couldn't run the ball effectively at any point. They had
C.J. Daniels had a few nice catches, but that's about it.
That was about it. They were, and even there were a couple times where they had well-designed screens to get the ball in Toney's hands, and we still snuffed it out. But he had the only explosive plays in the game that they had, and then had the one touchdown that we gifted them late. It was, I mean, we controlled things from start to finish. We didn't play a perfect football game by any stretch of the imagination, but we were the better side from basically first opening kickoff to final whistle. We were the better team. Texture says, what a difference a win makes. Vibes are off the freaking charts on Floyd Street. Every goal for the football season's still alive, and Kansas is in town on Friday. It doesn't get any better than this. Miller's stat line on Friday was the whole idea when they grabbed him out of the portal. Isaac finally showed up. This defense is the best in the ACC, and Chris Bell is a first-round pick. If the Cards can simply handle business moving forward, I really think they're going to Charlotte in the CFP. I'm just saying, if 2025, 2026 was going to be the year of the Card 2.0, it would probably start something like this. It's a good start. I love volleyball. I had a rough weekend.
I was about to say.
Yeah. I watched the Texas match. We get up 2-1. We just we have trouble putting things away. Come on the show, Mesky. We'll get Mesky on tomorrow. Let's talk to him about this. That was rough, but besides that, vibes are off the charts good. Texture says, Lazard guy here. What's up, Lazard guy? This defense, man. The open field tackling was incredible on Friday. I love you, Ron. Still floating. The open field tackling was, I think you get nervous. Doesn't matter who you're playing. If you see open space, you see one of your guys there going up against the ball carrier, and you realize, oh, man, if he doesn't make this play, this could go for a long way. I think every sports fan you clam up a little bit. It felt like in every one of those situations we made the play. And in a lot of those situations, they didn't make the play. And that was one of the biggest differences in this game. Our guys just came to play. Like we took things to a different level on Friday, and it was incredible to watch. And I just hope we can keep doing it.
A lot of it was just effort. On both of Chris Bell's touchdowns, they were both on short little dig routes that I was like, oh, okay, he'll get wrapped up at some point. And he's bringing 3 or 4 dudes behind him that some guys who I thought had the edge on him and had the angle that just didn't get there. And then you got some that were on our defensive end where they were throwing a little dump off or a little screen that, like, we had dudes blocked who were, like, maybe not making the tackle, but stopping the run, allowing other dudes to come in and help team tackle. Like, we were just slowing them down, and it just comes down to effort.
I mean, he looked like he hit the mushroom in Mario Kart, which is like zoop, like just like jolts ahead of everybody and then just stays ahead of them. Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to move that quickly and accelerate that well when you're that big. Texas says, legendary 5-day stretch, Charles Wesley Godwin concert on Wednesday. That may have been the show of the year. Louisville beating number 2 Miami on Friday. Mrs. Red Rocks and I celebrating our 11-year wedding anniversary on Saturday and went to the Broncos game yesterday. Still floating. Shout out to Red Rocks guy. It's a hell of a weekend.
The Broncos capped it off there.
I know. Was it 20? Was it I think 1,601 games, had consecutive wins when teams were up by 18
points with 6 minutes left.
Yeah, and the Broncos reeled off 32 fourth quarter points.
33 fourth quarter points.
Outrageous. The Giants.
My girlfriend's family is from New Jersey.
Oh God.
And so she's not really big into sports and stuff, but like her family is. And I was watching the game, just chilling in the house watching the game, and I was like, oh, okay, they're Broncos have been iffy this season. The Giants look like they're moving up. And so I turned the game off. About an hour goes by. She texts me and just goes, that game was absolutely terrible. I was like, what do you mean? You guys were up like 17. I went and looked at the box score.
I didn't realize
oh, my God.
I didn't know they lost until late. Because I had them in a parlay, which didn't matter because I also had the Chargers beating the Colts in the money line parlay. So I knew that wasn't going to hit. But then I went back. I was like, oh, my God, they won the game. I had no idea until like 2 hours afterwards. By the way, just across the wire here, Jeff Brom has been named the Dodd Trophy Coach of the Week. Dodd Trophy goes every year to the top coach in college football. Jeff Brom, your national Coach of the Week. Deserved honor. No question about it. Made Mario Cristobal look like a baby. That's what he did. He's still crying. Texas Miller Tile here. What's up, Miller Tile? It's The Shining. The Shining is the key to winning. TK has to watch it every game now. Go freaking Cards. I mean, a little bit of a mixed bag for TK.
Yeah, he had a rough Friday.
Because he texted me, he's going back and forth, but I think he did turn The Shining on at one point. It helped Louisville to a victory, but the Blue Jays lost. Then the Blue Jays won last night. I don't know if he turned The Shining on last night or not, or if he actually watched the game. But Game 7 tonight, he did send me a picture of himself doing the use down thing, which was, just a fantastic picture. It was great. Our players, they see so many teams doing the L's down thing. You could tell they just relish the. It was like a kid who's always been bullied getting the rare opportunity to be the bully. They were just so excited to throw the use down at every opportunity, and I was fine with it. I'm fine with L's down. If you don't want people to do it, don't give them a reason to do it. So if we're going to do use down, it's because we got a reason to do it. Let's go for it.
My dad was L's down at the Tennessee Tech game.
My dad was not loving it, by the way. My dad was like, because we were doing it early on after the first pick. He's like, don't let him get fired up now. And I'm like, we're fine, Dad. We're fine. He thought it was going to cost us.
Oh, it made such a great picture. It had upset written in the background on the Sports Center page on ESPN. It was the best picture I've ever seen.
That was Jabari Mack, too, who looked at it. Yeah, he's great. Texture says, damn it, Mike. I just got this thing to go down. Now, after that show intro, looks like we're in for another couple days. Yeah, we're still getting text for the show intro at this point. I'm
236.
Not going to apologize for your boner. You're welcome. That's what we do here.
That's what we do here.
That's what we do here. It's like that. I was going to use a almost famous quote, but I don't think I can say that on the air. Texture says, Donut Factory guy here. What's up, Donut Factory guy? Dozen glaze to Ron English. Love watching this defense play. Also, Mark Ivey deserves a ton of credit for the past 2.5 seasons as well. For sure, yeah. His defensive lines have been stellar, and it seems to get better every year. This win feels like the one that could get the buy-in needed from the whole team to make a run at a special season. I'm not making any outrageous predictions, but it seemed like this team got the hiccups out of the way early in the year. December football at L&N would be really special. Okay, you can't say that because then I will get erect as well. You can't do that. Stay glazed, go Cards. Matt, you were kind of saying the same thing during the break, and I agree with you. You worry about this in this day and age. Are some guys not fully bought in? Are some guys thinking, hey, if we lose this game, I'm going to start thinking about what I'm going to do next year? You go 5-1. You see yourself now in the top 20. You recognize there's a path out there for you. Maybe some guys that were kind of worried about giving their all, now they're like, all right, let's go do this thing. I think we'll find out a lot more to the answer to that question on Saturday.
I think we definitely will. Like I said, it's a game where if there's anybody on the team that wasn't fully bought in, you get a glimpse of, oh, wow, we can really pull something off.
Yeah.
control our entire own destiny with the way the rest of our schedule looks. If you don't buy in now, then you're never gonna.
Yeah, for sure. Texas, Ron English, you silly man. Agreed. I'm so sorry for last year. I was highly skeptical about the preseason talk around how improved the defense would be. I can't help but picture this team if we had Tyler Shuck on this year's team, but I digress. Go Cards, what a game. Win out.
Tyler might get the nod here soon.
You think so?
Maybe.
Yesterday was a
three
rough
of them
day for
things.
Spencer. Yeah, he did not look good. By the way, what was our Fang alert meter? It was high on Friday, I know. But it
72%, I believe.
got 4. I can't wait to start talking about Dylan Lonergan this week. See how that goes. Texas, what a game. Shout out to TJ Capers. Worth every penny. The momentum swung their way if it goes to OT. I didn't like our odds. The fact that the ball didn't touch the ground was incredible. 3 of the 4 picks were very tough catches. Watt had one of the best picks I've ever seen. Had to cover so much ground to get that. TJ had an amazing game, and by God, it looks like Isaac is back. Yeah. I mean, the interceptions were outrageously good. And we actually had 5. One just got called back.
I kept finding myself missing Duke, missing a healthy Duke. If we would have had that 1-2 punch in this game, Mike, I feel like the amount of control we would have been able to have late in the game would have been, even more ensuring.
Yeah, I mean, imagine it's this week, 2 weeks from now, whenever, and we feel like we finally get a healthy and happy Isaac Brown and Duke Watson together, if that happens. And, we talk about, like, what you can do to take things to an even higher level. That's certainly one of them. And then I think also, like, getting Miller Moss even more confidence. He made the right teams are going to adjust now. I mean, Miami didn't because I don't think their coaching staff is all that great. But teams are going to start – they're going to say, all right, we still have to focus on shutting down the running game, but we're also going to press up on your wide receivers. We're going to make you make at least some plays down the field, and he's going to have to hit on those throws. He had a really good chance to make a back shoulder throw to Kari Collins and just threw it too far to the sidelines. He's got to make that throw a couple of times to keep defenses honest. But, God, the chair when it goes down, I hate it every single time. Shout out to YouTube if you're watching that. But, yeah, I think that's the next step for Miller Moss's evolution. He did what was asked of him on Friday. More is going to be asked of him at times for the rest of the season. Texter says, I know we're talking football after Friday night, but I'm not surprised that John Rothstein has us at number 14 in his top 45. He's rather high on our ex-coach, Rick Pitino, although I see they trailed Towson at halftime because, in your words, Mike, you got to make shots. You do have to make shots. St. John's, they still got to, they'll be great defensively. They got a couple of offensive questions. Chris the Plumber texted in, I'm still bricked up from Friday night's dub. At what point should I consult my doctor? Go Cards. Now you're good. No doctors needed. Texas, we've already had the Brom clunker. It was Virginia. Now we just go.
I've thought about this.
Can we count it?
It was a game we should have won. It was a game where statistically we dominated. And it's a game where now going through the rest of the season, Virginia hasn't looked too great. So if we went in one out, if we ran the table, I'd be like, that makes sense. That's the Brom clunker. That makes sense.
I agree with that point as well, but this was a ranked team that was coming in as a top 5 offense. Like, you knew what you had to do in this game. You knew how important it was for your offense to be in control in this game and not give their offense the advantage. And you did that, and you lost still. Like,
no. We've decided it. That was the Brom clunker. We're going 11. It's established now. That's the clunker. We're going 11-1. There's nothing else to see here. It doesn't matter that it came before our big win or that they were nationally ranked already and had the best offense in the country. It's the clunker. That's what it is.
We did kind of expose them.
They stunk.
That's true.
We exposed them. They're going to lose out probably. It's going to look worse at the end of the season. That's the clunker. Now all we have to do is win 6 games. No clunker. I just keep thinking of the Billy Bob Thornton from Friday Night Lights, where he's like, "Ain't no curses." That's my motto going into this week. Ain't no curses. Texter says, Mike, how about the Annabelle doll cursing Dougie basketball and football? Talked about it. First time texter, Cowboy. Roman's going to hit you with the Cowboy nose in about 15 minutes. Texter says, PRTG here. Cough, Stephen Miller, cough. Ass kicking when you see someone on TV. You can go ahead and change the G in PRTG to God due to my prediction above. Better interception, Jair undercutting the route at the goal line against Clemson. Watts or Capers on Friday. There it is. There it is. I think TJ Capers interception. I mean,
Thing of the week.
Antonio Watt's interception though it's as good as it gets. I mean, they were a little bit mad. Miami fans were that there was no PI called, and I get that. Like whoever was beaten, it may have been JoJo. He kind of like slaps the arms of the receiver down, but it ended up not impacting the play whatsoever because that ball still gets picked even if there's no contact whatsoever. I mean, Watts just dives and makes the most beautiful pick you're ever going to see. Both those are on the short list for best interceptions in Louisville history for sure.
That was the thing is when I was watching, media outlets and people in podcasts talking about all the interceptions being thrown, these are linebackers that are catching them. These are not DBs.
Yeah, they're like those DB. I was like,
those are linebackers.
TJ Capers ain't supposed to have those types.
That's Antonio Watts chasing down one of the fastest dudes in college football.
Watts was great. Texas says we should all be going 8 bleep crazy for number 19. Let's go. Still floating. Also says let's bleeping go. Also, I would take partial credit. I was watching the game in my living room, and my girlfriend got home right as we were about to make it 14-0. You're damn right. She sat in the hallway the whole damn game. What a bleeping game, gents. This is why we hired Brom, and he coached circles around Cristobal, made him look like a toddler bleeping his pants on national TV. It's all out there for the taking. A lot of people did. My mom, I almost had to send her back in the house when she came out, like right when the Isaac Brown fumble happened. And then we scored to make it 24-13. And she's like, okay, good, because like it was kind of not going great before that. She's like, I thought I was gonna have to go back inside, and then the fumble happened. I was like, Mom, might be time to go back inside. She stayed out though. We celebrated. It was great. My mom like never gets into sports, so when she does, it always adds a little bit, like to just makes me even more like I remember coming downstairs after we beat West Virginia to go to the Final Four in 2005, and she was like standing on the couch cheering, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, Mom, like this. That's how I know it's the biggest deal in the world. Texter says, when do they normally announce the time for the U of L UK football game? This first-time texter as well. It'll be the Monday before the Monday 2 weeks before the game. So 12 days before kickoff is when you'll find out. Cowboy. I'm never not going to laugh. It's the best sound in the entire world. Texas, you guys were talking about Satterfield, man. I told y'all we could get them. Well, they won. That ain't the real you no more. They're washed. We beat them on the road back-to-back. We're currently a better and more consistent program than they are. Chris Bell is wide receiver 1, and my guy tried to tell me all summer, but I wasn't sure. 4 of them things.
4 of them things.
4 of them things. He knew it. I did like that I was pissed off when I saw that we were behind Cincinnati in the coaches poll. I knew the AP was going to have our back. We're better than Cincinnati, but they did win. They beat Oklahoma State this weekend.
The first interception, I really lost my mind. I immediately went to the group chat, and I just typed in all caps, Roman, you son of a beep.
I just texted him dark cloud in all caps because he talked about the dark cloud all week. I mean, spot on the Carson Beck. Texas said, Mike, I had the Friday of a lifetime. Started the day by getting an ultrasound on my boys. Thankfully, we are all good down there. I didn't know where that was going. Got an ultrasound on your boys. Then the Miami win with Ron's D shift as the bleeping board. I don't know what that means either. Should we be concerned about Jeff ever leaving us, or should we be proactive in protecting the coaching staff with the massive amount of openings across the country? I don't think he would leave. I do think that we'll probably be proactive, though, and if the season continues, you don't give him a bonus mid-season. But if we finish out 10-2, 11-1, flirt with the playoff or make the playoff, then yeah, I would like to see Jeff get a little extension. Texter, hey, Mike, first-time texter, long-time listener. You're not a first-time texter. Stop doing it. What are your thoughts on Penn State fans clamoring for Jeff Brom? They can do whatever they want. They ain't going to get him. Texter says, Riddler here, TJ Walker is on these airwaves for the past 2 months, pandering that UK has the deepest team in America, but now all of a sudden, one injury later, and there's a whole revisionist propaganda in there. We don't need to talk about TJ's tweet. He was like, if U of L can't beat UK with potentially 2 starters out, he's trolling. He did say, this is the deepest team in UK history. We had 2 starters out for the Kentucky game last year. Didn't win. Kept it close, though. I don't think you can use that. Says, also, dear Lord, Jeff Brom, you owe Ron a steak dinner. Ron's been great. Roman, didn't you say when we were talking about, somebody said, like, how many points would you say, like, we need to have to feel comfortable winning? I think you went with 24.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like if you told me we scored 24 points, I'll think we lose.
I'll say we need at least 24 to win.
You were right. I mean, that's all we needed.
Keep the streak alive.
We don't score fewer than 24 points on anybody. Was it
Even when we lose.
even when we lose?
I think it's 20 games in a row.
Whatever it is, it's the longest streak by a wide margin. I think, yeah, it's like 20 games. The next longest, I think, is 13.
He's got the most wins in the ACC since 2023.
Since he got the job, yeah. Texture says, Mike, when Louisville beat Miami on Friday, I hurry and cane. I see what you're trying to do. It just doesn't work. It does not work at all. Mike, are you allowed to play any of the Paul Rogers calls in the games? Yeah, we can because we're partners with the Louisville First Media Group, where our sister station has the games over at 970, so we could play them. Texas' biggest play of the game for me is Holloway gets beat on a pass play. He doesn't give up on the play, and the Miami receiver is stopped at the 8. They can't punch it in. They settle for 3. We go into the half up by 4 instead of tied. I mean, you're not wrong. That's a great play that probably isn't getting enough credit from anybody, including myself. We had a lot of those plays. You brought up the Colin Lacey tackle after the fumble. We made the little plays. They didn't. We made the hustle plays. We wanted it more. And a lot of times that's what it takes in games like this. I mean, it just could not be more proud of our guys. All of them. Incredible. I mean, we're still not to 3 o'clock on the text line. This is terrible. We only have 30 minutes to read all these texts. We're going to do the best we can. I promise. 502-414-1450. We'll also pick a winner for tonight's game. God, I got Lions tonight. Oh, it's all happening. Last segment of the show is up next. Keep it locked right here, 1450, 96.1, Big X Sports Radio. Great song. Sad lyrics, though, but still very upbeat. 5 o'clock hour here, the Mike Rutherford Show, presented by United Mechanical, 1450, 96.1, Big X Sports Radio. Just 30 minutes left here of the show, but, again, best thing that happens on Mondays around here, you get 5 consecutive hours of U of L Sports Talk because Dalton Pence will be here from 5:30 to 7, getting you, maybe you can take some of the 5,000 texts that we're not going to be able to get to here and read some of those, but I'm sure he has his own takes on what we saw Friday evening against Miami. He'll be celebrating. You can keep it locked right here and celebrate with him for another 2 hours here on the show. But we'll try to get to as many texts as we can. Game Day Men's Health text line number 502-414-1450. It has been what you expected it to be on the show, a mass celebration over Louisville's 24-21 win over Miami, one of the most impactful, best, biggest upsets, whatever you want to say, in the history of this Cardinal football program. Incredible Monday. Feels great. Let's get back to it. Texture says, Boney Dumper texted in. I mean this unironically. Chris Bell is deceptively fast. Sneaky athletic? Boney Dumper also was blaming this on the Giant Pumpkin. Giant Pumpkin did come down yesterday because the wind was so bad. Giant Pumpkin did not go down on Friday. You need to take it back. Giant Pumpkin is the catalyst to victory. The weather did just completely wreak havoc on all the inflatables and our big witch yesterday. Had to take it down. We're back up. We'll be back. Actually, we're not back up. We'll be back up when I get home. It's fine.
Witch looked like she was wavering.
She went down. I took Penny for a walk. Worst possible time. Right, we get as far away from the house as possible. Skies just completely go nuts. Wind goes terrible. Got home, witch was down. She's back up today though. Inflatables have not gone back up. Texture says if we win out, is there any way they keep us out of the CFP?
Yes.
Of course there is. Of course there is.
Well, they'll do their damnedest.
Yeah.
As soon as the game was over, I was already seeing people being like, "Oh well, Miami, the biggest fluke I've ever seen." I was like, just a week ago, you all were putting them 1A, 1B with Ohio State.
Yeah. If this were a different conference, and I've seen a million people make the point already, but it's completely valid, so we need to echo it on this show. If this were the SEC or the Big Ten, and you had a team that was widely regarded as the best or second best in college football, getting beat on their home field by another team from their same conference with just one loss, the talk would all be about how that team is so good and so underrated and needs to be talked about more, as opposed to how the team that was ranked second was maybe overranked, and are they even really that good?
Alabama Vanderbilt last year.
Just saying. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And then, the very next day, watching the Florida State-Stanford game, the first thing I tweeted after the game was over, I was like, this team actually beat Alabama.
Yeah, by 2 touchdowns.
By 2 touchdowns.
Dominated
Alabama.
You know who else we beat by 2 touchdowns? 6-1 James Madison. They've not lost to anybody else.
Best team in the country.
Just saying. Best group of 5 teams. They'd probably be, 6-1 in the SEC right now. Maybe 1 loss in conference play.
My favorite meme ever is that AI generated photo of it's SpongeBob throwing the lob to Patrick Starr, and it says the hypothetical win for the SEC again.
Yeah, I love it's everywhere now. Texas says big game, I can't read any of this. I enjoy this text. I can't read any of the words that you wrote after this. I will say shout out to Ron the Don. There you go. That's the one part that I can read from your I love the text. I'm just not allowed to say those words on the radio. I'm still laughing at it, though. Texture says, I can't read that one either. Texture says, as stated above, Louisville money line was right. We just still have a 21% chance to make the ACC title game. 17 teams in the league in an 8-game conference schedule. Cut the fat and get rid of some teams. I don't believe in the numbers that they have out there for probabilities. They're like, Louisville jumped from a 1.8 to a 14.2% chance to make the college football playoff. It means nothing to me. It means nothing at all. Nothing was you can't bank on chaos. You can't predict chaos. You can't predict what goes through the minds of the committee. If we go 11-1, I feel good about our chances to either get into the ACC championship game or make the CFP as an at-large. It'd be tough to leave us out with our only loss being to a best team in the Power 5 with Virginia, and the James Madison win and the Miami win. Come on. Texter says first time texter Cowboy. That's you wrote that. I didn't say that, but I just did now. We're 5-1 with a win over number 2 Miami on the road, and our only loss being overtime against number 16 Virginia. If Louisville was in the SEC or the Big Ten, where do you think we're ranked this week? Higher than 19. I feel pretty confident in saying that.
Probably 14th.
Probably 14th. Texas, we should have the tiebreaker if UVA loses 1 based on every one opponent's combined record. Yeah, the tiebreakers get a little nonsensical because there's the potential for 5 teams to be tied and for us to have only played 2 of them. And I think when that happens, it goes down to who's the highest ranked teams in the CFP are. And we would have a good shot at being ranked higher than Virginia, certainly. We would need Tech to lose to somebody bad. And then I think we could probably jump them. And then also Tech getting smacked by Georgia in the last week of the regular season would help out, which is weird because it's not even a conference game, but it still could help us get into the conference championship. I'm not thinking about it yet. I've talked about it for like 15 minutes today. I'm not thinking about it, though. We're not thinking about it. Stop asking, Nick Saban. Texter says, I'm hoping the Cal game is a noon game, and I hate noon home games. Me too. I'd be 10 times more worried about that Cal game if it was in California. I mean, we're seeing it with...
Or if it was just like at night. The fact that it's at noon, if it could be...
We don't
noon,
know if it's... I would imagine it's not going to be at noon.
Be like 7 a.m. to them.
They rarely make those teams play the early game when they travel across the country. But you're seeing it not just in the ACC, but across the country. When the teams that are on the West Coast, but they're playing in predominantly Midwest or East Coast conferences, they are a million times tougher to beat on their home turf than they are when they travel. UCLA and USC, kind of the same thing. You make them change a few time zones, they turn into pumpkins a little bit. You have to go out there and play them in Cali. It's much, much, much tougher. So that game being at home, I think, is huge. Texas says, we need Georgia Tech to win out. We'd beat them by 50 in the ACC championship. Oh, we would beat Georgia Tech in the ACC championship game. I'm telling you, they're frauds. They're not going to win out. Texas, any chance we get Stoops some Signetti money, build the Stoops statue? Build the statue. Roman Hader says, I never said anything bad about the team. First time texter Cowboy. It's not true. Do not use the Cowboy sound on him. He's not earning it. Texter said there are a lot of Penn State fans for some reason. I know. They're not going to get Jeff Brom. They're not going to get Jeff Brom.
They're getting Matt Rule.
They're probably getting Matt Rule.
The best coach against top 25 talent we've ever seen.
Yeah. Texter says, Mike, to quote you from Friday, lightning did strike twice with a seemingly impossible. See my previous text. You were right. You laid it out. You made me feel better about it. I guess we know what we need to do in the future to take care of business. What a win. Go Cards. Texas, I'm confused as to how people say that Miami is definitely in the playoff against U of L if they both win out. U of L had the head-to-head win, and I don't see these amazing wins Miami has. Well, I mean, Notre Dame's good. Notre Dame wins out, they're probably going to go to the playoff, and they just won the toughest game that they have left. USF is also in the playoff as of right now. Florida stinks, but Miami throttled them. This is – who knows if we even have to have this argument, but, yeah, it would be very bitter if a team that we beat on their home field gets into the playoff over us when we have the exact same record. It's not a bridge we need to cross right now. Texter says, I think the UVA game is the Brom clunker. A game they gave away and played bad, fumbles, interceptions. Oh, yeah, we've already established it. It's the Brom clunker. Don't let Roman talk you out of it. It's the Brom clunker. That's what it is. Texter said, is the Va-Tech 3:30 game on CW scheduling as scary to you as it is to me? First of all, it's at 3. And second of all, yes. It was the one thing that I saw this morning where I was like, don't do that to me. Now, producer Matt's going down to Blacksburg with the fam.
Yeah, I'll be there.
How do you feel about the CW designation?
I generally think I'm going to see the most disgusting football game of the season. Like it just – we were going to go anyway. We already had the tickets and everything bought at the beginning of the season. So, when they lost to Virginia, I was like, it'll still be fun to go. I get to watch the team play away. And they beat Miami, and I'm like, okay, this game has implications. I'm excited. And then they just punched me in the gut saying it's on the CW.
I don't love it.
AI says we won already, though.
If you do Google, Louisville CW, it has the results, and it says Louisville won the game November 1st, 2025 over Virginia. That actually, in a weird way, just makes me more nervous. I hate it more.
I don't even know why they'd put it on.
I don't like it at all. That AI is always wrong.
Script's out.
The script's out. I'll take it. Texas, after watching the game 4 times, I can say without a doubt the commentators were awfully in love with Miami. However, that roughing the passer call was so bad they couldn't deny it. Also, to me, one of the biggest plays of the game was making that tackle on that screen play right before halftime to keep them from a touchdown. Second time it's been brought up, yes, Tayon Holloway, huge play to keep them to 3. Texture says, Dolphins guy here. Oh, boy. I told you all I knew a thing or two about heartbreaks at Hard Rock Stadium. I mean, that's fine with them. I just don't want it for us. Texture says, Mike, Friday night was a boner fest.
We're all busted, Mike.
There was I don't know if I can say it. I can't. You say the word 7 times in this text. I don't think I can say it 7 times. I've gotten in trouble for it before. There was every kind of blank to be found: raging blanks, confused blanks, nervous blanks. I can't say this last part at all. It was like Oprah showed up and said, "You get a blank, you get a blank, everyone gets a blank." Couldn't be prouder of this team. Now let's not let these blanks deflate against Boston College. That's the first time I think we ever had a text that has 11 boner words drops in there. I can say it twice. That's fine.
Did you guys see the tweet about after the game where it was the Drewski picture and it said you can't come in our trap and take over our trap if it's not our trap?
No,
because Miami plays it.
Hard Rock Stadium. Yeah.
So it was like it's just the picture where he's like got his hands up.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
not our trap.
Scoots texted in, said, any trepidation with UK now after their performance over the weekend, or is it still an easy win? I think there's always going to be trepidation with that. I mean, I was nervous about the game last year, even when UK quit. I mean, it's not just the Texas game. They've kept things respectable against just about everybody they've played. They just have no offense. So, I mean, after the game 2 years ago and the 2016 game, yeah, I don't think anybody will ever overlook Kentucky. I think we're a better team. The game's at home. We should win. But, I mean, if it gets to a point where, I mean, let's say worst case scenario, we're 10-1, but we know we're not going to make the ACC championship game, and we've got to beat them to look good and make the CFP. I mean, that's dream scenario for UK. Like you've had nothing to play for basically the last month. All of a sudden, you get this gift where you can just wreck the dreams of Louisville. Like, they'll be motivated for that game. They'll come out and they'll play hard. I'll be terrified for that game. So, yeah, I'm never going to say that there's no trepidation for a game against UK that has big ramifications.
We'll have double the watches on.
I mean, how do they let him do that? It feels like a Kenny Payne era thing that would happen, where it's like, is L. Ellis wearing a Rolex out there? How is this okay?
Sunglasses?
Is he playing the game in Gucci sunglasses?
Got pit vipers on.
We're 2-20. What's he doing out there? Did he just flip up his shades at the free throw line?
This was after he went and got snacks from the vending machine.
He's eating popcorn at the free throw line. We're down by 27.
Does he have a gold chain on right now?
I'm crying at home, trying to do another write up after the game. Texas, I felt optimistic about our chances to beat Miami after we lost to UVA because of Braum, but I thought it was over, and I felt sick when Miami had the ball in the red zone late. That INT was bleeping amazing. Our D played great. Ron English deserves so many apologies and props from the fans. He's doing a fantastic job. Yeah, I mean, I'll say it again. My biggest and most sincere apologies to Ron English. I was wrong. You were right. You're good looking. I'm not remotely attractive. You're brilliant. I'm the dumbest person that's ever lived. I was wrong. Could not have been more wrong. Could not be happier to have been wrong. Texture says, Capers' pick reminded me of Alderman's pick 6. I went from accepting defeat to euphoria. It wasn't quite as clear-cut because that game was tied and they were already in field goal range, but it was very much the same type of vibe where if you had asked me before the interception, what percentage chance do I give Louisville to win, I probably would have said less than 50. And then he goes out there and makes the play. And it goes from, oh, my God, what's going to happen? I'm still nervous if we go to overtime to, oh, it's over. Like, snap of a finger, game's done. All we have to do is go out there and kneel it. And then I did love Jeff just, like, freaking out because some of our players were talking trash. He's like, he wanted to strangle. He's like, all you have to do is not fight, and we're going to beat the number 2 team in the country. I was kind of feeling the same way, too. I was like, just get off the field, please.
I just realized, did you just make another Happy Gilmore reference?
Yes, 3.
The third one?
3 today.
I was sitting here thinking, I was like, wait a minute.
I haven't even seen the movie in a long time. 3.
Old Chubbs Peterson.
Old Chubbs. Texture says, CFB here. Cards fan Brian and Colts fan Brian are on crowd freaking 9. The Cardinal football team controls its destiny again after the biggest regular season upset in Louisville football history. I said it. We're back. Also, the Colts are looking like the greatest show on turf and prime Super Bowl contenders. Basketball season can wait. I'm fully locked into football at the moment. Go Cards. P.S. Mrs. CFB took a photo of me frozen in fear to cheer until I saw the replay of Capers. It's a great picture. I'll send it to you. He's just staring at that was me. Like, I stood up after the interception happened and then, like, got terrified that he maybe didn't catch it. And I'm looking at the TV just like that. As they show the replay, and then I celebrate.
We were literally in the car. My girlfriend was driving when that happened, and I grabbed her arm that was on the steering wheel and yelped. Like, we almost, like, got into a critical accident.
You were in the car, like, during the play?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
We were driving home.
I would have died. Text, hey, Mike, I just want to apologize to Card Nation. I was in the front row of the Clemson Hill on Saturday, and I wore an IU jersey instead of my U of L jersey. Felt like a traitor not rubbing our win in Clemson fans' faces. P.S. I've never been more terrified of a team than I am because of BC this weekend. Well, I've got a lot of questions. I mean, why are you even wearing an IU jersey to begin with at a Clemson game?
You at the Clemson game.
I've got so many questions. I mean, you're just what? You're going to the Clemson game, first of all. Okay. You're clearly a diehard Louisville fan, and you're wearing an IU jersey to the Clemson game? Not Louisville to rub it in their faces? What are you doing?
Who was Clemson playing?
SMU.
SMU, they got dog walks.
So then why IU? Why don't you could just wear,
I have no idea
you
what's
just wear
going
like a
on.
black shirt? Like
I got a lot of problems with this text. Of all the days, too. I mean, I'm wearing U of L stuff around the entire city.
This is a South Carolina Texas.
I don't care. Is he Cards fan? Not an IU fan. Where the Cards jersey? Get IU out of my face. Texas, when Tony's touchdown run happened live, I could have sworn Watts was being held, especially when his shoulder pad was hanging out after the play. But I didn't really see anyone saying anything about it, so I figured it was just seeing things. This angle from the card tape confirmed it was true. Yeah, that's definitely a hold. Amazing game, immaculate vibes, go team. Parksy boy. Yeah, I mean, there were some uncalled holdings, no question. Texter says, guys, I mean, there are certain things that I can't say on the radio. I can't do it. Texas, my favorite mic is a giddy mic, only closely followed by ranting mic. That doesn't exist. I'm happy that we have giddy mic today. I've never ranted. Not once. Stern monologues. I am definitely giddy today. I've been giddy all weekend. It's been the happiest dad in the entire world. Except I started feeling like I got no sleep. I had the no sleep, just nausea and headache on Saturday night. It's like ruined everything. Just conked out for 8 hours. Felt great on Sunday morning. I felt good ever since then. Lazard guy said, you mentioned it, but the 2nd and 10 throw to Bell for a first down on our last possession was massive. Allowed us to melt 2 minutes off the clock and put Miami deep in their own territory for their last drive. With this defense, I'm not worried about a letdown game at all. I think it all comes down to the game at SMU, which terrifies me. I picked us to lose that game preseason. I would not be shocked if that winds up being the case. I think that same weekend, too, you've got us versus SMU, and I want to say like Georgia Tech versus Pitt. It's two other teams that right now are kind of up there near the top of the standings. So, that weekend could wind up deciding things. Texter says, what's up, guys? It's Ross. What's up, Ross? Loved watching you get to enjoy the win with your parents. I know from throughout the years how big that was for y'all because of how pessimistic your dad has always been. 31-7, Dad. Come on. It was great to see Clev Lubin is manhandling dudes 100 pounds bigger than him for 4 quarters. Antonio Watts is Willie Mays hazing INTs 50 yards downfield. D'Angelo Hutchinson thumping people. Isaac's almost 100% and getting his burst back. Moss was efficient. Special teams is running the option. Our place kicker's a stud. We've got a 34-year-old eligible pro joining the basketball team. By the way, told you that on Friday. London Johnson. We got him. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. The vibes are immaculate. We're so back. The OG Go Cards, Go Kroger and guy. Damn right, Ross. Texas, remember the play when the commentators said this is the play of the season for Carson Beck in Miami, and then he proceeded to throw it right to 2 cards? Yeah, they said that, and then they still ended up with – it was premature as hell because then they ended up with the ball and a chance to win the game 5 minutes later. But, yeah, it was a good moment. Great moment. Terrible throw. Texter says, I'm sure the big dog's phone is ringing off the hook with how well the Cards are doing and how poorly other programs are performing. Go Cards, we need a couple of Miami boys on our roster next season. We didn't talk about it, but the picture of the big dog out there to eat on, I think, Wednesday night in Miami, that's a 7-figure dinner. He's got lamb. Everyone's got lamb on their plates. Everyone. I was like, imagine how the worst feeling in college athletics has to be an incoming expense report from the big dog, where it's just my God.
I saw the catfish spaghetti one.
Yeah,
I was like, something's going on here.
He eats good. He eats more than good. He also apparently, I think,
the big dog has to eat.
The big dog has a lot of room upgrading, I think, too, across the country. And an expense report hates to see Vince Merrill coming because he's about to run it up.
And that business credit card comes out.
All bets are off.
Some oohs and ahs are coming out.
He's like, I got this. Don't worry about it. This is what I do. That whole table looks so happy, though. Get us some recruits. Get us some funding. Texas, protect Mark Ivy at all costs. I'll love Mark Ivy forever. He's been incredible here. He was the only coach that was I'm a Scott Satterfield guy, but not really a Scott Satterfield guy at Cincinnati, so I'm going to go ahead and just kick it here. Love him forever. Texas, the ACC should amend its tiebreaker rules to be more like the NHL. We should get a point for an overtime loss that would supersede any tiebreak. Also, Virginia's loss to NC State should count, and GT should have their win against Wake revoked. In other words, we should get an automatic bye to the ACC title game by default right now. This is a great point. We lost in overtime with a bad review overturn. Virginia's already lost to an NC State team that's in the conference. Georgia Tech is only undefeated because they got gifted a win over Wake Forest because of a terrible call. We're basically in first in the ACC is what I'm saying.
If you had to choose one, what do you choose? You choose the NC State game counting, or do you go back and reverse the call for the Wake game and give them a win there?
Give me Georgia Tech with a loss. I think they're better than Virginia. I think they've got a better chance of running the table. We beat Georgia Tech by 35.
Well, it's not going to matter. In like 5 years, 10 years from now, we're just going to have ACC and like SEC conference championship tournaments in football from now on. They're going to have a 72-team playoff.
Yeah.
And
there's a 3-week regular season before we get into the postseason. It's going to be it. It's going to be like grade school football. Texas, do you think with our win on Friday, Kirby Smart pushes a little harder to get the series canceled? They ain't playing us. They weren't going to play us before that, but they're not playing us. It's just not going to happen. Texas, 3 AP voters completely left U of L off their ballot, including Nicole Auerbach, who actually live tweeted the game. Strangely, the 3 voters are all Big Ten reps.
Did you guys see the clip from, I think it was SportsCenter, where the guy was like, I wish we could talk about Ohio State more, but people behind the scenes won't let us, or something like that?
Really? No.
I don't know how like real and accurate, but I saw the clip coming into the studio today, and he goes into the in-depth detail. It was like, there's behind the door stuff our bosses won't let us talk about, and then everybody was like, wonder who they're talking about.
I'm not shocked at all. I mean, the ESPN doesn't have the Big Ten contract, so they do typically want to hype up teams from the conferences where they've got the financial investments already in place. So yeah, I mean, wouldn't be shocked at all. Big Ten people, they don't want multiple ACC teams. They definitely don't want 3. Get over yourself. Get out of my face with this stuff. We beat any team in the Big Ten by 35. Besides, I mean, Indiana's refusing to play us. Get over yourselves. Stop this. Get out of my face. All right, let's talk about some games tonight. Let's get over it. Sorry, I'm just checking.
How'd the pick'em do?
We are now deadlocked, Roman.
That's what I thought.
We are dead. Neither one of us did great. I had a third straight, maybe 4 straight, really disappointing week. 5-5 for me, 6-4 for you. We differed on 3 games this past week. You got 2 right. I got 1 right. You took Vandy. I took LSU. That was wrong. I took GT, even though they suck. You took Duke.
Yeah.
And then I took USC. I went with a big upset pick, and you took Notre Dame. I also bet on that one. Did not go well. But 5-5 for me, 6-4 for you. We now both are 56-24. We also both missed the high school game of the week for the first time. Central curb stomped to Sales.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Blasted them. I don't know if I can say curb stomp. It's okay. Tonight, 2 Monday night games in the NFL. 10 o'clock ESPN. Texans, Seahawks. Seattle is a 3.5-point home favorite over the Texans. Texans need this one pretty badly. Producer Matt, who you got?
Seattle.
Roman, who you got?
Give me the Texans here.
I think the Texans win too. I'm going with Houston. And then the big show, 7 o'clock. Buccaneers, 5-1. Baker Mayfield, is he the MVP frontrunner? On the road, taking on the Lions. Detroit's a 6.5-point favorite. Tampa hasn't lost by 7 points in like 35 games or something crazy like that. Matt, who you got?
I got the Lions. Baker Mayfield's going to throw a thing of the week to put Drake May in the top of the MVP voting.
Ooh. Roman, who you got?
Got the Lions in an ugly one.
I got the Lions winning but not covering. I think it's close. I think it's kind of ugly as well. Let's get it done. Let's make this a great 4-day span for your boy. We got Mondays with Dalton Pence up next. Keep celebrating the win, damn it. Let's go. See you tomorrow. Go Cards.
Go Cards.
Go Cards.
Mike Rutherford Show was brought to you by United Mechanical. John Burke's United Mechanical is your trusted partner for commercial and industrial